As we remain there, honorable members, allow me to acknowledge in the speaker's gallery, Little Lambs Schools from Kapseret, Uasin Gishu. Thank you. Next.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Take your seats, peoples. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome you to the House of Parliament alongside your teachers and any other people accompanying you. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 15th April 2026, in the afternoon. Report of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2025 and certificates therein in respect of 1, Agricultural Sector Development Support Program 2, CEDA Grant number 5110109, State Department for Agriculture. 2, Amani National Congress Party. 3, Ikutha Technical and Vocational College. 4, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. 5, Kakrao Technical and Vocational College. 6, Kitui East Technical and Vocational College. 7, People's Empowerment Party. 8, Pesti Vocational Training Center. 9, Subukia Technical and Vocational College. And 10, Ugunja Technical and Vocational College. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay.
Thank you, Chairperson, Special Funds Accounts Committee. Is this Honorable Mulyungi? Or is it Fatuma? Who is the chair? Is Fatuma in the House? Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Special Funds Accounts Committee. Absent. Fatuma, you are doing the wrong thing by engaging in conversations instead of doing your work. Call out order number 5 again.
Order number 5, papers.
Chairperson, Special Funds Accounts Committee.
I'm sorry, Honorable Speaker. I was seated behind under instruction that I take the nearest seat.
The nearest seat does not block your ears.
That's true. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 15th April. The 19th report of the Special Funds Accounts Committee on examination of the report of audited accounts of selected funds.
Thank you. Next order, go back to order number 6.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Special Funds Accounts Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Notice of motion. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motions: that this House adopts the 19th report of the Special Funds Accounts Committee on its consideration of the audited accounts for the following funds laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 15th April 2026. 1, Equalization Fund for the financial year 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023. 2, Fish Levy Trust Fund for the financial year 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023. 3, Public Service Superannuation Fund for the financial year 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022, and 2022, 2023. 4, State Office and Public Motor Car Loan Scheme Fund for the financial year 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022. 6, National Research Fund for the financial year 2022, 2023, 2023, 2024, 2024, 2025. 6, Petroleum Development Levy Fund for the financial year 2018, 2019, 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022, and Petroleum Levy Fund, Training Levy Fund for the financial year 2021, 2022, 2022, 2023, 2023, 2024. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Fatuma. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, you recall we were to have the Minister for Water and Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. Your speaker received a letter from the said minister requesting to be permitted not to be here today because he's accompanying His Excellency the President in a field trip to Kisii, Nyamira, a trip that has a bearing on his ministry. And your speaker has acceded to that. So, Majority Leader, you schedule that minister plus the Minister for Education to next Wednesday. So members who had questions to the Minister for Education, who had earlier on made a similar request and I acceded, and the Minister for Water, be ready next Wednesday. Pauline Lenguris. Pauline Lenguris. She's not here. Professor Guyo Jaldesa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44.2c, I raise to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the reported establishment of a multi-agency security installation within Moyale constituency, Marsabit County. Honorable Speaker, between 5th and 6th April 2026, the Wajir County Security Team held a press conference and proceeded to mark ground for the construction of a multi-agency security facility within Moyale constituency, Marsabit County. This action was undertaken without any consultations or involvement of the local leadership or relevant authorities in Marsabit County. The Sololo sub-county security team visited the site and established that the marked area lies well within Moyale constituency based on the recognized district and provincial head boundaries of 1992. It was further noted that the concerned area in question appears to be illegally occupied by armed groups raising serious security concerns. Honorable Speaker, this unilateral action by Wajir County authorities amounts to an encroachment on the territorial jurisdictions of Marsabit County and pose a significant threat to the local, long-standing peaceful coexistence among communities in the region. If left unaddressed, the situation is likely to heighten tension, disrupt social harmony, and potentially trigger inter-county conflict. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I seek a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. Report on the basis under which the Wajir County Security Team undertook actions that appear to alter or disregard the established administrative boundaries between Wajir and Marsabit counties. The source of funding for the proposed multi-agency security project and whether due process, including consultations with the local leadership of Marsabit County, was followed, and the immediate measures being taken by the Ministry of Interior and National Administration to halt the ongoing activities and ensure the withdrawal of any unauthorized personnel or operations from Moyale constituency. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Professor, by armed groups, you mean legitimate state
Illegitimate,
agencies?
illegal local armed gangs manned from Wajir constituencies.
Tongoyo, that's a very serious allegation. Yes, Raso?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what Professor Guyo there raises is a serious security concern. When CDF funds are used to construct police stations in constituencies in other counties, and also using militias to guard that facility, then it means that facility does not really belong to the government, whether it is national or the county government. So for that reason, although the administrative officers, both in Wajir and Marsabit, have asked that building or construction to be stopped, I think the individuals who are doing what they are doing because of expansion are continuing with that construction. So for that reason, Honorable Speaker, our people are likely to fight over this particular incident. And to avert it, I think the Committee of Security must move with speed so that there's no fighting and the administrators take control of the situation. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, Honorable Speaker, we should appreciate that Russell come from the same county and maybe probably has got a privy information to the same. But having said this, Honorable Speaker, we had already summoned called the CS to appear before the committee on the 21st over the issue of goons in the country and largely the insecurity. And I will ask your guidance if we can slate the same question to be responded to by the CS on the 21st and have the concerned member probably also appear.
21st, that's next week.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Professor, appear before the committee
Well guided,
on
Speaker.
21st. That notwithstanding, you must bring a written response to the House, because
Well
now
guided,
the question belongs to the floor.
I will, Honorable Speaker.
So if you can bring a response after 21st. 21st is which day of the week next week? Tuesday. Can you then bring a written response to the House on Thursday?
Obliged, Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Russell?
Speaker, we will abide by your guidance, but our request to the chairman is let construction on that site stop until a decision will have made from the center. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairman, you hear your vice chair?
Yeah, I do, Speaker, but you know, of course, my mandate doesn't reach there. But I think it's one of the considerations we'll be putting across. And Speaker, from what you hear, is actually the colleagues have been pointing the finger to one of us in this House. So maybe it somehow also you...
Who?
I think they're
haven't
ready
heard
to
anybody
disclose.
mention.
They're ready to disclose, Honorable Speaker.
I do not
I'm
want
sure you are
you
in the-
to... Yes, Jaldesa, you know the standing orders. No adverse reference to your colleagues without...
I'm not saying any adverse mention of any member of parliament, but the area that we have conflict in is between me, my constituency, and the constituency of elders.
Good enough. You can invite the elders member to that committee as well, if he has anything to do with it. Next, Justice Kemei has told me to stay his question, and I've agreed his request. Joshua Kandia.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Housing, Urban Planning and Public Works regarding the lack of urban planning and regulation of construction of high-rise buildings in the country. Honorable Speaker, Nairobi City County is among the mostly densely populated and highly urbanized county in Kenya. It has experienced unprecedented growth over the first few decades, with more people migrating to the city for job opportunities, among other factors. This has resulted to expansion of housing, roads, and commercial developments to meet the demands of the population. It is, however, unfortunate that this urban development, which infrastructures such as drainage and sewerage systems, concerns have been raised regarding inadequate oversight by the relevant national government authorities in regulating construction of high-rise buildings in Nairobi County. As a result, some developments have been undertaken without adequate sewerage and drainage infrastructure, while others have encroached on riparian land. Honorable Speaker, regrettably, the lack of proper urban planning and inappropriate construction of high-rise buildings has contributed to recurrent flooding, resulting in loss of life and destruction of property. While issuance of construction permits and enforcement of compliance with approved building standards is largely a devolved function, the national government retains the responsibility of coordinating of urban planning by the counties. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Housing, Urban Planning and Public Works on the following. 1, the measures put in place by the government to ensure oversight of the construction of high-rise buildings in Kenya, including enforcement of approved planning standards and compliance with building regulations. 2, the steps being undertaken to improve existing policies governing implementation of drainage and sewerage systems in Kenya to match the rapid urbanization. And 3, the actions taken to enhance urban planning and coordination between relevant national and county authorities to ensure that corresponding essential infrastructure such as drainage and sewerage systems are adequately integrated in high-rise urban developments. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair Housing. The acting Chair Housing, Wapi Rindikiri. Any member of that committee? Yes.
Caleb.
Yes, Caleb.
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Member for Machakos.
Yes, member for Machakos.
Yes, can you bring a response in 2 weeks?
Chair, well guided. Honorable Speaker, I'm well guided and I'll inform the acting chairperson, Honorable Rindikiri.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pauline Lenguris. I called you twice before.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I apologize for coming late. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the standing orders 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding insecurity in Samburu County. Honorable Speaker, there have been recurrent cases of insecurity and livestock raiding in Samburu County, causing loss of life, destruction of property, and displacement of residents. These incidents continue to disrupt livelihood and heighten fear among communities. Notably, on 13th April 2026, armed bandits alleged to have originated from neighboring Baringo County attacked the residents of Lorian Village, Morijo sublocation in Samburu County, and fatally shot Mr. Anthony Lanaper of ID number and raided more than 700 livestock. This incident reflects the persistent and escalating insecurity, thereby undermining peace, stability, and economic sustenance in pastoral communities. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1, the circumstances surrounding the attack in Lorian Village, Samburu County, which led to the murder of Mr. Anthony Lanaper, including the reasons for failure by police to forestall the attack. Second, the measures being taken to apprehend the perpetrators and recover the stolen livestock. Number 3, the immediate intervention to enhance security in the affected area, particularly in Lorian Village and other areas affected by insecurity in Samburu County along the Suguta Valley communities living there. 4, long-term strategies in place to curb recurrent banditry and cattle wrestling and cross-border attacks in Samburu County and neighboring regions. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Tongoyo?
Honorable Speaker, I need also your indulgence if we can lump together the same question, since the minister will be addressing the issue of insecurity in the country, and Samburu is a perfect case actually of what has been.
In the committee.
Yes, and still submit the same on
Pauline, you can appear before the committee on Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Next week, right?
Next week, 10th. On Tuesday, 10 a.m.
Yes. In the mini chamber, County Hall. Yes, is that a mother? Yes, a member for Turkana Central, is it? Go ahead. You want to joyride on this?
Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As at now, there is the Special Operations Group in these regions, in these areas, Honorable Speaker. And cattle or livestock theft, banditry is ongoing, even when we have SOG on the ground. Turkana East, Turkana South is faced by the same issue. And we are wondering, why is this continuing when government has spent a lot on the ground to train SOG and even to flush out some of these groups, but still we are experiencing death and loss of livestock, Honorable Speaker. It is too unfortunate. Are we dealing with this vice, or we are encouraging? Honorable Speaker, as at now, there are so many raids that are ongoing. Turkana East is the most affected as at now, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Mama Zamzam. You want to joyride on that as well?
Yes. Mheshimiwa Spika, asante sana. Na mimi niweze kusema usalama wa taifa ni muhimu sana, na si vizuri tukiona watu wanakufa kiolela kwa sababu pengine ile kama vile dadangu wa Women Rep amezungumza. Inasikitisha sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Vitengo vya usalama lazima kuangalia kwa maisha ya Mkenya inaangaliwa vizuri Mheshimiwa Spika. Katika Mombasa County pia Mheshimiwa Spika, ukiangalia tuna vifo vingi, watoto wanapotea. Juzi watoto wamepotea, watoto 14, wawili wamepatikana wamekufa. Kuna mwingine Gloria alipatikana amefanywa vibaya amekufa, na hawa wanaofanya hivi vitu Mheshimiwa Spika hawapatikani wakati tuna vitengo vya usalama Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi nakemea sana na nasema vitengo vya usalama, lakini pia niweze kumpongeza regional commander wetu wa Coast Alinunu kwa kazi nzuri ambayo anafanya, manake huyu mtoto mmoja ambaye aliuawa amefanya bidii, amepata yule jamaa yuko ndani. Lakini hawa wengine ambao wameuliwa Mheshimiwa Spika, na mama mmoja kule Likoni anaitwa Beatrice aliuliwa na mtoto wake akiwa mjamzito, ni vitu ambavyo vinasikitisha. Kwa hiyo mimi naweza kuita Minister for Interior, muangalie haya masuala, mufuatilie, na mimi nitakuja kutoa official statement katika bunge hili kuhusu mambo ya Mombasa. Lakini pongezi sana Mama County kwa kuweza kuangazia sehemu yako na tunakusupport. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Asante Mama Zamzam. Watoto 14 wamepotea, 3 wamepatikana, unamsifu polisi. Hiyo inaenda sambamba kweli? Yes, Mama Zamzam.
Mheshimiwa Spika, najua ni dhiki, lakini miaka ya nyuma tulikuwa hatatu wapati wale. Ameanza juzi, kwa huyu wa juzi amepatikana, wamepata lomuua. Kwa hiyo namsifu ili aendelee, kwa sababu hawajawahi kupatikana tukiwa hapo nyuma. Toka aje anafukuzana nao, lakini waweke kasi tupate hawa watoto waliouliwa, hawa wengine nani amewaua, na hawa waliopotea wako wapi? Ni vitengo vya usalama viangalia. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Karido. Honorable Karido.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this issue of rustling and insecurity is becoming a real problem, especially in Igembe Central. Mr. Speaker, it's really worrying. Even when we have an operation going on, still these rustlers can cross over from a different county and cross and come and kill our people and steal our animals. We challenge the government. We don't know what is not happening. And it's really threatening. Because now we are told the insecurity, the operation is going on. And you can see through the media that the operation is going on. But still the rustlers come every day. Even last week, we had rustlers in our area. They came and took our animals and injured people and killed one person. This has been going on for a while. Mr. Speaker, we want the Interior Ministry to be serious on this note. We want them to work harder than they were working. They should close all loopholes because it appears as if someone is sleeping on his job somewhere. We have a very big government, and then we have a threat from very few rustlers who come and harass us every day in and day out. Mr. Speaker, the chairman should tell us, should request the ministry to tell us what is not happening and what is supposed to be happening.
Yes, Osero. Pauline, you want to joyride on your own statement?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have a specific section within the police called the anti-stock theft unit. I have an anti-stock theft unit in my constituency. But the problem is, Mr. Speaker, they do not operate independently because sometimes they don't have vehicles, they don't have ammunition, and it is up to maybe the area MP or somebody to organize. In my constituency, for instance, last week we had 2-3 incidences of about 4 or 5 livestock that disappeared. Mr. Speaker, I had to hire vehicles for them to actually go and track the animals. And specifically in Burabu, my constituency, whenever cattle are stolen, there is a small forest, which we don't know whether it is government or it's not. It's called Kipsingei Forest. Whenever cattle are stolen, we just go to Kipsingei Forest and we find them there. Now, we're asking the government, if it is not a gazetted forest, or if it is one, it should actually be fenced, so that any time any rustler is, any animal thief is, is heading towards the forest, at least there are some forest guards there. So mine is to encourage, especially the ministry. The anti-stock theft, they are very good, they are trained. But the truth is, they are ill-equipped, they don't have gadgets for operation, and they don't have vehicles. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Kumondare.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this issue of cattle rustling is becoming very serious. And Mr. Speaker, Monday, Samburu is also attacked and we lost so many animals. And Mr. Speaker, it has become just normal that when animals are stolen, nobody even follow up to return. And we have so many people who are affected. So I think, Mr. Speaker, the government should take serious measures. We are losing lives and properties. So, Mr. Speaker, it is affecting all of us, and we really need the government to work and protect the people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, Daud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this morning I brought a bill regarding stock theft, livestock stock theft, and what the honorable member from Samburu is saying, we are laying the blame to our neighbors because livestock has been stolen from Meru County and it finds its way passing through Isiolo up to Samburu County, whereas when the Minister for Interior says this is a disturbed area, the governor refuses. He says he will not accept it being a disturbed area. So he is not accepting that operation should be held in that county. So I think we need to be honest with ourselves. We need to stop our people coming to do castle rustling, find an ATM in Meru County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Rendikiri.
Mr. Speaker, it is very hurting to hear my very good friend, a man I hold with a lot of respect, saying that people are being marked or killed, knowing very well he is going to stand as a governor. Mr. Speaker, if we have a governor like the one of Isiolo who says he's going to start with the budget, governor of Samburu is going to start with the budget, then we are losing it in leadership. Mr. Speaker, Meru County has 5 constituencies that are affected by cattle rustling. Bole, Tigania West, Tigania East, Igembe Central, Igembe North. And these animals find their way in Samburu, and they are known where they are. But because of no cooperation with Samburu County leadership, this menace has continued to exist. The areas that the government has gazetted, much of it is in Samburu East, where the Honorable Member of Parliament is, and he knows the truth. The truth is bitter. We are continuing asking the government to stand firm. The gazetted area, animals have started being brought back, Mr. Speaker. And they're all coming from Samburu, unless there is another Samburu anywhere else. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Dorothy. Mondare, what is the problem?
Mr. Speaker, the member who spoke, see, in order to refer Mr. Speaker that all the animals stolen find their way in Samburu. And Mr. Speaker, it is not true to say that all people who are stealing are from Samburu. And Mr. Speaker, it is wrong, and that is why we are missing the point. I want to inform the member, there are even Samburus in Isiolo. You cannot stand and say the Samburus who are maybe stealing from that other point, there are Samburu people in all other places. And by the way, they are not thieves, all of them. It is wrong to mad the community like that. Thank you.
Order. There is no evidence before this house that Samburus are cattle rustlers. Yes, Dorothy?
Thank you.
Karido, what is it?
Speaker,
Dorothy, take your seat.
Mr. Speaker, all the times that we have raiders invading Meru, all those who have been killed are Samburus. There's not a single, we have killed, the police officers and security enforcers have killed any other tribe coming to steal our animals from Meru. It's only Samburus who have been killed, and in most cases, they are Samburus from Samburu East. And we have evidence. Even those who have been arrested are from Samburu and Samburu East. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the honorable member should not defend his people. He should accept the reality that his people are the raiders who have been raiding Meru all along. We have
Order, Dorothy. Dorothy.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is a very fluid topic that we are discussing this afternoon. And Honorable Speaker, cattle rustling, cattle theft is a matter of national importance. Honorable Speaker, we are talking like we only lose animals and not people. Honorable Speaker, we are talking about the loss of human beings and the loss of cattle. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say, without any tone of doubt, Honorable Speaker, the Meru community has suffered. And Honorable Speaker, when we talk about operation, we are calling upon the government without even saying this is the area where cattle go, this is the area we know our cattle has been stolen. And what we want is to say, let operation be done. If it extends to Samburu East or wherever, we want our animals and our people dead or alive. And Honorable Speaker, we cannot accept that to continue.
Honorable Tongoyo, I hope you have listened to the passion with which members have prosecuted this statement. So when the minister appears before you on Tuesday, members with issues, whether you are Samburu or Meru, go before the committee on Tuesday. The minister will be in the mini chamber with the committee and prosecute your case. Mutunga, I want to close this. Yes, Mutunga, what is it?
Yeah, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. Honorable Speaker, when we speak of a community, we are not here to brand a community. We have had sessions where wazee or old men from this community ask us to sit down and discuss how to repay our animals that have been stolen. And people are killed in these processes. Whenever they want little money, they come for a few animals or sheep and goats. Whenever they want a lot, they come for 150, 250, 300, 500, 700. Honorable Speaker, one day I lost 708 animals. The ends of cattle. Honorable Speaker, we have lost over 15,000 ends of cattle from Meru. That's around 1.5 billion from our poor community. And they are all going to Sololipi, to some Milimawat in Samburu East. So why are we saying there are Samburus? Several people have lost their phones. The phone has evidence of the owner. They have lost ID cards. The ID cards have the own names of the owners. We are calling upon the government to use the available evidence to follow these fellows. They come from some locations. Chiefs know them. Assistant chiefs know them. The village elders know them. Where are they being kept out? And then you can see a governor unashamedly standing before Kenya and before the entire world saying, I will protect thieves. What kind of a governor is that? Who can stand and protect thieves in this country other than the Samburus? Honorable Speaker, we know them, we can name them, and we have evidence.
Fry? Give to her, Jill. There you are.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is a very interesting conversation. I just thought it was just about the pastoralist community, but it looks like it's a national issue. Mr. Speaker, sometimes we say the kettle calls the pot black. It's like kettle calling the pot black. I've had an issue. We have lost over 25 camels for the past 35 days. And we have been in Samburu. Our people have been camping in Samburu, and they brought back 6 camels. Mr. Speaker, from the conversation, this is not just a pastoralist issue, but it's a national issue. We are asking the security team to fast-track these camels and the cows that are missing and to be brought back, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Sunguli?
Mr. Speaker,
you are a former Interior Minister. How did you used to do it?
Yeah, having seen that, Mr. Speaker, you know, the most substantial part of our northern Kenya, and that includes the northeast of Kenya, has a lot of issues on stock theft. And Mr. Speaker, I think it is not good to profile one community, because the Samburus are also victims of other communities towards the north. And when you look, Mr. Speaker, you have been a magistrate. When you go to Meru Court today, you will find that there are thieves who have been prosecuted by the government, and they have been found guilty of stealing cows. And they are not Samburus. So these thieves are from everywhere. I think let us limit the tribal element in it. Let's let the minister come and tell us, whatever color of tribe they have, why are they not arresting these thieves? Because I'm very, very sure that some Samburu cows have found their way in Meru, and that those have been prosecuted in Meru courts. These other ones should also be prosecuted where they are. And the other communities that are also harassing the Samburus should stop harassing the Samburus.
Yes, thank you. Taitumu, you've kept your hand in the air for the last 20 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been raising it because this is a very emotive issue. And it is ironical to hear a member saying that there are no castle wrestling happening in Meru due to Samburus who have been raiding day in, day out for 3 years continuously. And when we hear about operation, it's not an operation, it's a mockery to the intellect of the Meru. And I would implore the minister that on Wednesday, let him come with the evidence of how many cases have been prosecuted in Samburu, whereby Merus have been there trying to rent their animals. Because every day, Every week, we must have a raid. And when these animals are drawn, they cross River Wasunjiro. And when they cross it, we hear about Mulima Bendera and so on being mentioned now and then. My question is, where is Mulima Bendera? Is it in Uganda or Tanzania? So the animals that are owned up there, we have heard about this operation, which I'm saying is a mockery and not an operation. Day in, day out, there are cases in Samburu, and there has never been a case of Samburus in Meru trying to get their animals that have been rendered to Meru. So Samburu East is where all the Meru animals from northern grazing area have been owned up. But the government has been very lenient. And we are saying the government has been favoring them. And the time has come, the government to lay the fact bare, to know who is rendering animals from who.
Last, Naomi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. This is a very important matter that we are debating on because some of us come from those areas that are suffering because cattle rustling and losing property and people has become, kind of our lifestyle. Honorable Speaker, 3 weeks ago, we lost people in Marsabit and the raiders were killed. They collected the ID cards, and the government knew where they are coming from. Nobody even came and collected the dead bodies, and yet the areas they come from, the communities they come from is well known. So the problem the Meru people are having, we are also experiencing in Marsabit. Can our government take serious action to protect the lives of our people and also our properties and the cattle that they have, because these people have no bank account and they have nothing. In fact, it is very sad because one of the persons we lost is a young person and he has a very young family. He lost his father in the same case and his grandfather. So he's the third person now to die from that family. It is very unfortunate that the government is not taking action, and the minister should come and explain to all of us why they are protecting certain communities. Thank you.
Yes, Tongoyo, you've heard that tirade.
Speaker, and I know, of course, the interest is massive. But, Speaker, I don't want to really preempt what the minister will say, but I want to give the country hope. We all know what was happening in the Kerio Valley, in the North Rift, in the Tiati, and the members of Baringo are here, and they can confirm that the guns had gone silent. So I know the problem in Meru and the rest of the country, with the state agencies are up to the task, but I will still call all of us, those who will get time, to be there on Tuesday so that they can be able to interrogate the minister and the IG.
Next response, Chair Transport. Chair Transport, GK. Are you ready to respond to Bernard Kitur's statement request? Is Bernard Kitur in the house? Yes. Can you give him a working mic? Give him another mic where he's standing now.
Honorable Speaker, on Tuesday, 24th February 2026, the member for Nandi Hills, Honorable Bernard Kitu, MP, requested for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the expansion of the Eldoret-Shamahoho Road. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, the Honorable Kitu sought to establish, among other things, one immediate measures that the ministry has taken to ensure the Eldoret-Shamahoho Road can can adequately handle the increasing traffic volume? And number two, expected timelines for expanding the Eldoret Shamahoho Road to support a fast growing volume of traffic. Honorable Speaker, the committee received a response from the Ministry of Roads and Transport through the Clerk of the National Assembly, which I now wish to make. One, regarding the immediate measures that the ministry has taken to ensure the Eldoret Shamahoho Road can adequately handle the increasing traffic volume. The ministry, through KENHA, continues to maintain the road and currently has 3 ongoing contracts as follows. Performance-based contract for the maintenance of Eldoret Kapsabet Shebaba with the MS Pini Agency Limited. The contract period is from 11th June 2025 to 10th June of 2028, and at a contract sum of 302.6 million Kenya shillings. The scope includes river drenching, protection works, shoulder reinstatement, road furniture maintenance and repair, potholes patching, culverts and drainage work. The contractor will carry out a 20-kilometer road widening from Chebaba to Mosoriot and build 1.5-meter shoulders on both sides of the carriageway. And Honorable Speaker, works are ongoing. B, performance-based contract for the maintenance of Kapsabet Sonoi with MS Pioneer Engineering and Construction Limited. And the contract period is from 14th August 2025 to 13th August 2027 at a contract sum of Kenya shillings 152.3. The scope includes protection works, culverts, drainage work, localized sub-base and base repairs, pothole patching, and SC Type 1 overlay on selected sections, and road marking and road signs. And Honorable Speaker, works are ongoing. C, periodic maintenance of Chepsonoi, Shamahoho, Shavakari with MS Wolf Paving Works Kenya Limited. The contract period is from 9th June 2025 to 8 June 2028 at a contract sum of Kenya shillings 469.4 million. And the scope includes protection works, culverts and drainage works and shoulder reinstatement, localized sub-base and base repairs, pothole patching, AC Type 1 overlay, and surface dressing, and road marking and road signs. And works are ongoing. Honorable Speaker, regarding expected timelines for expanding the Eldoret Shamahoho Road to support a fast-growing volume of traffic, the ministry submitted that KENHA has completed the redesign of the 55-kilometer Moiben Junction, Eldoret Town, Eldoret Airport, Mlango Shopping Center, B16/B8, Kapsabet Road. And the design proposes drawing of the 27-kilometer section from Moiben Junction to Eldoret Airport. It proposes a 7-meter single carriageway on the rest of the stretch and 2-meter shoulders on each side of the whole way to Mlango. Honorable Speaker, additionally, KENHA has advertised on MyGov dated 24th February this year for consultancy services for preliminary engineering design for Shavakari, Kapsabet, Eldoret Road, which is approximately 100 kilometers, and associated civil works for fiber optic cable. The outcome of this design will inform the detailed engineering design for consideration. Honorable Speaker, I do submit. Thank you.
Bernard Kitur.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, Chairperson, for the response. That response, definitely, Honorable Speaker, is not factual based on the evidence on ground. And the reason why I brought this question to the floor of the House, Honorable Speaker, is because of these proposals that had been made that a 55-kilometer stretch from Moiben Junction to Eldoret Town, Eldoret Airport up to Mlango was only being designed. And now, indicating that there is another design that is proposed to then dual 27 kilometers of the same stretch, I think in the response is a bit confusing. Are we talking about 55 kilometers or we are talking about 27 kilometers? But that not belabored, Honorable Speaker, from Chebarbar all the way to Eldoret, the 20 kilometers widening, actually Chebarbar to Mosoriot, where it is indicating that there's a 20 kilometers widening. This is a contract that was given in 2025 June. To date, Honorable Speaker, it's only after we presented this question in the floor of the House that they began the shouldering of the 1.5 meters on both sides, but that only has been done from Chebarbar to Kosirai. And so the widening of the road has not been done. Therefore, this response in itself is not factual and not satisfactory, Honorable Speaker. The other bit from Kapsabet to Jepsonoi, I think, Honorable Speaker, you will allow my colleague, Honorable Marianne Ketan, who uses that road oftenly, to state that portion of what is going on.
You have no right to solicit for any member to speak.
Because of our interest, Honorable Speaker. But basically what I was saying, Honorable Speaker, I think that the response is not satisfactory at all.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Dick Maungu.
Thank you, Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I listened carefully to what the chairman was saying. I happen to come from Vihiga County, and Mr. Speaker, what the Honorable Kitur has just said is actually true. The statement is far from being correct in the sense that, Mr. Speaker, this is a road that has been a nightmare, especially for those of us who come from Western Kenya. Mr. Speaker, it is the only road that connects Vihiga County to Eldoret, and the only county that connects the western part, Mr. Speaker, to Nandi County and Uasin Gishu County. And Mr. Speaker, it's a total nightmare for those of us traveling, be it business or any other thing, Mr. Speaker, from the western part to the Rift Valley, Mr. Speaker. I wish the chairman would be more magnanimous to tell us what exactly is happening, because as we speak now, from a place known as Chamahoko, from Chavakali all the way to Mahoko, we can say that that place is okay. But between Chamahoko all the way towards Kapsabet, it's a nightmare. There are deep gullies on the road, and there's a contractor who was working along, and this contractor excavated deep cuts beside the roads, and those cuts have been left, Mr. Speaker. 2 months ago, we lost 3 young school-going kids who were run over by a vehicle on the same stretch. So, Mr. Speaker, I wish that the chairman becomes a bit more specific and intentional in his report, because what is that given us, Mr. Speaker, does not really add much value to that. Thank you.
Member for Aldai.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to comment on both roads. The first one, this one from Chebarbar to Mosoriot. The contract, as read by the chairman of Transport Committee, says that the road was supposed to be expanded and then the shoulders repaired. They only did, I think after the member for Nandi Hills raised the issue, only did the shoulders between Chebarbar and Kosirai, and the expansion of that road has not been done. You'll note, Honorable Speaker, that road requires an expansion because of the kind of traffic that happens between Kapsabet and Mosoriot. And there's been so many accidents that happen, especially there's a river
not a river, a swamp that causes a lot of problem, especially now that it is raining, that the rains almost come and cover the bridge. And if they had done this, I think that should have been sorted out. On the road from Shamahoho to Kapsabet, just like Mheshimiwa Dick Maungu has said, the contractor came and dug the sides, deep cuts, and left them. And therefore, if you travel there for the first time at night, chances are you will veer off the road and roll because the sides are very deep. And then on the center of the road, they cut it in the hope that they'll come and repair and then put an overlay, as the Honorable Chair for Transport has said. And that was done and left. So therefore, the road is worse off than it was even last year. We wish that they shouldn't have done that if they were not willing or they were not able to proceed to the very end. Because the way the road is right now, Honorable Speaker, is worse off from how it was before. And therefore, the response from Honorable Chair, I don't think is adequate for these particular issues. Thank you, Speaker.
GK, Chairman, have you brought
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am happy to know that the honorable members who come from that area have their facts and they are concerned with the pace of work and the design of the said roads. So, Honorable Speaker, we request, because we have a planned meeting as a committee with the Minister in the first week of next month, that you allow the members to visit the committee to attend the session, and we will have this as one of the agendas for that meeting, and we will have it discussed in details, because I don't want to say that the minister has not given factual information. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order. Yes, Beatrice Kamei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I stand to bring to your attention that on 2nd of April, I requested for a statement and regarding the circumstances surrounding the burial of multiple unidentified bodies at the Kericho County Cemetery. And Honorable Speaker, you gave a directive that on 9th, which was on a Thursday, and the chairman should respond to the same. And now it's another week and he's not responded. Honorable Speaker.
It was the chairman health, right? Or was it security?
It was two, chairman health and then security. And Honorable Speaker, I feel unhappy that records are not kept in these, maybe those who are supposed to respond, and there's no information about the same. And this issue, Honorable Speaker, has taken very long. And if we delay more, it will be overtaken by events. So, Honorable Speaker, I'm wondering why it has taken that long. Thank you.
Yes, Tongoyo.
It's true, Honorable Speaker. We have.
I had paired you with health.
Yeah, but
Right.
in regards to what was come from my end,
Yes.
it is still among the few 15 statements that are pending.
When can you bring?
Let me try to sit here. Today is Wednesday. Because the problem is not signed. I think there's already a report, but the problem is a signature from the Minister of the PS. So maybe Tuesday, Honorable Speaker.
We give you Tuesday?
Yes, please.
I know that Honorable Nyekal, whom I
Yeah, it's
paired
been
you
bereaved.
with, is bereaved.
Yeah.
So you can deal with both the health and the security aspects.
I don't know. Maybe why don't you kindly give the vice or somebody from the health?
Who is the
to-
vice chair of health? But Simba, are you in the committee of health? Pauline, you are in health. So liaise with your committee on Tuesday. You bring a composite response on matters health and security. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next order. Yes, but Simba, what is it?
Mheshimiwa Speaker,
pia mimi nimesimama kukumbusha ama kwa malalamishi kama haya mwenzangu aliyozungumzia hapa. Kabla tuende kwa likizo fupi, nilisoma statement ambayo ilikuwa iko katika Department ya Education, na ulitoa ruling ya kwamba immediately tukirudi kutoka kwa likizo nisomewe response, but up to now hakuna chochote ambacho mimi nimeelezwa.
Anybody from health?
Education.
Education, sorry. Owen, Bayer. Oh, yes, Eve Obara.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. We'll follow up and
We
revert.
said immediately from the short recess.
Yes,
We
as soon as we are
resumed
back from
yesterday.
recess. Thank
When
you.
can you bring?
1 week after we resume from recess, Mr. Speaker.
So next week?
Yes.
Wednesday afternoon?
Yes, Mr.
No,
Speaker.
Wednesday afternoon is loaded with 2 ministers, so bring on Tuesday afternoon.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order. Yes, member for Turukana from Loima, sorry. Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also have the same concern as to the same like the member for Honorable Bedisimba. Honorable Speaker, last week or 2 weeks ago, myself and Honorable Kitur were to attend a committee meeting where the CS for roads was to attend so that they can be able to answer our statement. And Honorable Speaker, I'm only seeing that Honorable Kitur's statement has been responded and mine has not been responded. And this, actually, I asked it like 1 month ago. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
GK, you are supposed to respond to the request from member for Loima. When can you?
In 2 weeks, Honorable Speaker.
No, you have already consumed 2 weeks.
Yes, we need additional time, Honorable Speaker, so to avail.
Next week, Thursday?
Yes.
Okay. Next order. Yes, yes, Mombasa Raha.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine is the same matter as well. I was expecting our chair, the chair for security, Tongo, to have responded to the question. It's been over 3 to 4 weeks now. Thank you.
Tongoyo. When is the response ready?
Kindly, Honorable Speaker, maybe I need to be reminded which question specifically it
What
was.
did you ask about, Honorable Member?
It was in regards to the mounting of roadblocks across the country.
Roadblocks everywhere, yes, I remember.
Also known as toll stations.
Yeah, I know his interest because he's in transport industry. Honorable Speaker, notwithstanding, unfortunately, is among the still pending ones. Let me try also to get the response next week.
Next week?
Yes.
Yes, Nakuru Town East.
Mr. Speaker, I hear the sentiment of honorable members, but at the same time, honorable Speaker, my committee has 3 responses that we are ready to be able to give, but it has not been scheduled. It's important for the the clerk's office to be giving us a schedule as to when we can. We have 3 responses that we would want to. Actually, they are
You
on my
can
table.
also help, Honorable Gikaria. Your committee clerk should go to the desk office and also file information about statements that are ready.
He told me he did that.
He
and
did
we
that.
have- yes, that's what he
Clerk
told me.
Ndombi, you make sure those 3 are listed for tomorrow.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
And be ready to.
I will be here,
give them
Honorable
tomorrow.
Speaker.
Pauline?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also had a statement before we break for the recess to the Department of Tourism and Wildlife concerning the 3 women who were killed by an elephant. And up to now, I have not had the response, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, where is Kareke? Any member from tourism? Yes. Elizabeth Kailemia. Is the statement ready?
The statement is not ready. However, I'll be able to deliver the message to our chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
For when?
I really can't give
I
a
give you
time.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Tell your chairman to respond on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Next
Speaker.
order.
Order number 8, motion, consideration of the consolidated fund services under the supplementary estimates for the financial year 2025-26. Question to be put.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 8, which is that this House adopts the report of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee on its consideration of the consolidated fund services under the supplementary estimates for financial year 2025-2026, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 7th April 2026. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next.
Order number 9, motion, reports of Kenya delegations to the 147th, 148th, 149th, and 150th assemblies of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, and related meetings. Question to be put.
Order Taitumu, take your seat. Oh, that's not Taitumu? No. Honorable members, I'll now pull the question at order number 9, which is that this House notes the reports of the Kenya delegation to the assemblies of Interparliamentary Union, IPU, and related meetings as follows. 1. 147th Assembly held in Luanda, Angola on 23rd to 27th October 2023, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 24th February 2026. 2. 148th Assembly held in Geneva, Switzerland from 23rd to 27th March 2024, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 18th September 2024. 3. 149th Assembly held in Geneva, Switzerland from 13th to 17th October 2024, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 5th December 2024. And 4. 150th Assembly held in Tashkent, Uzbekistan from 5th to 9th April 2025, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 14th October 2025. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, the Quality Healthcare and Patient Safety Bill, National Assembly Bill number 41 of 2025, second reading, resumption of debate.
Zambia is in the House. Thaddeus Zambia, member for Kilome. He had 2 minutes to go, remainder of the time forfeited. Gertrude Mbeyu, Gitonga Murugara, you are not for that? Ecomas Mutuse, are you for this? John Mutunga, Rindigiri Mugambi. Why are you on the screen? Yusuf Hassan, Anthony Kibagendi. Are you for this? No. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, this is a very important bill, the Quality Healthcare and Patient Safety Bill, which we moved yesterday. And probably I need to recap for members to follow.
No, you have under what provisions?
Under your discretion or standing order number 1.
I will not exercise that discretion. Shakil Shabir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for allowing us to debate this particular bill. Mr. Speaker, this healthcare bill that has been put to the House It proposes a new body called the Quality Health Care Patient Safety Authority. And the roles of this particular authority is to license hospitals, accredit facilities, inspect and audit, enforce
As a matter of
compliance.
interest, Honorable Shakil, why are you wearing 2 pairs of spectacles?
Oh, beg your pardon, sir. One is my reading glasses. I am now an old man, sir. 72 years old, and I'm getting to, it's now causing me a problem.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
go
sir,
ahead.
I apologize. Inspect and audit, enforce compliance, handle complaints, and set national standards. But I thought the Kenya Medical Practice Dental Board and even Shah and the Ministry of Health were actually playing those roles. The Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dental.
It's called Kenya Medical Dentists and Medical Practitioners.
That's correct, yes, sir. I got that wrong. So does it mean that this bill is scrapping those existing bodies? The new authority that will have duplicate roles to the existing bodies is another creation of a layer of offices and another budget. The appointments of the CEO and top officials of this new authority is to be appointed by the CS Health. The CEO is to be appointed as well. What is happening is we are creating a new authority, sir, a new position, sir, new executive, and it's all funded by the taxman. And as much as I understand and agree that this might have been intended towards health management systems, and meaning county, and the county roles are here, and of course there is a very important issue. There's a quality healthcare patient safety bill. I do not agree that there needs to be a new authority to do this. And even if you have that authority, does it also cover the health, the up to level 5 hospitals which are under the county? It does appear to me, sir, that, Mr. Speaker, sir, that there is the intention might be good, but the way it is framed leaves a lot of questions as to whether we are now duplicating the roles and whether there has been a vote of no confidence in the Kenya medical dentist practitioners and the other authorities like the ministry and others who have been looking after our health. It is also important, sir, that this particular bill covers patient safety. It's a patient safety bill. It lays out certain requirements of patients who are seeking healthcare services from a health facility. Now, it doesn't say hospital, it says health facility, and these rights are to be read provided under the Health Act, Cap 241. The rights include the right of safe and quality care, the right to timely and effective care, the right to safe and accessible health services, the right to safe processes. All of these things, I thought, in my ignorance, perhaps they were already covered under the Health Act of the Health Act Cap 241. It appears also, it now provides for process of registration, licensing and accreditation of health services. I thought that was put under another body, was to look at all of this. The authority can order suspension and revocation of certificates of the health authorities. Now, I have gone through this bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I'm finding some of the items that are put through are very, very good. But my main concern about this bill is it's quite a voluminous bill. And my main concern is the fact that we seem to have duplicated, and we might be just going the same way as we went for Shah. Shah is a very good initiative which should have been running together with NHIF, and it would have transitioned from there. I wonder whether we are going back here and taking back all the healthcare control from county and the other authorities whose job it is to monitor and to lay this thing out so that the care of patient safety bill is there. So I would have probably been very happy if this was reduced from quality health care and patient safety bill 2025 without the issue of another authority to follow up on these issues. If there is another authority, what about the Ministry of Health and the various departments who are actually there to ensure patient safety and quality assurance measures? Mr. Speaker, sir, there are times and many times that we have found the citizens of Kenya going to a health facility for emergency care. They're not allowed to come in, and they're immediately pushed out. If you go to Nairobi Hospital with emergency care, and if you do not have SHA, they don't serve you well. As a matter of fact, they don't serve you some of the private bodies. There's also the issue of mortuary and the release of bodies, Mr. Speaker, sir. Under patient quality, patient safety and health quality, why will the institutions continue to hold a body which is of no use to them and allow the family to suffer? Mr. Speaker, sir, there have been many, many times our bodies of my constituents have been held at an authority and at a health facility, and we have tried to talk to them. I know 2 cases, Mr. Speaker, sir, that we said we agreed with the parents, with the family. There was no point of trying to find 5 million or 3 million shillings, and we agreed to go and bury banana stock. And once we started telling the authority that, the hospital suddenly changed its tune. Mr. Speaker, sir, with those few remarks, I don't want to continue to belabor the point. I do think this is a very good work that has been done. However, I think perhaps, and I need to be advised and educated, why an authority is required to do what is already there in the system. Why can't we just fine-tune the system, fine-tune a department in the Ministry of Health whose job will be much of what is captured in here? But I do think that this is a very good bill in respect of detailing the patient safety needs and the quality health care required as is the right of every citizen under the Constitution. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, sir, I don't know whether I support, but I do support part of the bill, but oppose the authority to be formed. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Good. Beatrice Kamei, are you queuing for this? Rindigiri?
Madam Murugara, you can't dictate whether I'm the last or the first. This is a very important bill. And I think all members in this House need to discuss and support this bill. Because for a long time, Mr. Speaker, we are now over 60 years of independence. And we are having a lot of problems on provision of health services in this country. Mr. Speaker, this bill brings forth the unity and cooperation between the national and the county government. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the President for championing the universal health coverage, which I think is going to cater for the health services of this country. Mr. Speaker, for the growth of this nation, we need education, health, and food. That's what is called a state. And that's what is called a country. A country where the government is not able to provide adequate health services, then we are entering into a very serious situation. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of the Constitution and devolution, there lies the health services. Mr. Speaker, there are so many reasons as to why this bill is coming in handy. One, Mr. Speaker, the population of this country is increasing at a very high speed. Mr. Speaker, in some cities, the population is increasing every day. Mr. Speaker, we are having strains in various sectors: education, transport, and health. This bill is coming to address those kind of influxes where infrastructure is not adequate for the health services. Mr. Speaker, we are talking about the number of doctors per the patient. In Kenya, we are far much below the International Health Organization as far as the medical doctors per patient is concerned. This bill, therefore, addresses the issue of trainings, the skills transfer. It addresses the issue of the quality of the workforce. It addresses the issue of governance and management. It also addresses the issue of health policies and regulations. Once this bill is approved, and I hope it's going to be approved, we will be now talking about provision of health, quality health and safety. But, Mr. Speaker, you know, I am very much concerned when I hear members saying they went to an hospital and they were given the wrong prescription. Yet, we are seated here saying this bill is not necessary. It is very important because we have to ensure that we have well-trained medical practitioners prescribing the correct drugs at the right time with the emphasis that it deserves. Mr. Speaker, if you check, for example, and I want to address the issue of equity, you find there are some areas where citizens are walking for so many kilometers to access medical facilities. Now, if we pass this bill, one of the cardinal things that the bill is addressing is funding and affordability. Mr. Speaker, if you walk from Tongalen for 20 kilometers looking for a medical facility, if you are walking beyond 2 kilometers, then we cannot say that we are offering quality and quality health services. Therefore, with adequate funding, we all know that we shall put up infrastructure, because it goes with infrastructure, it goes with provision of good drugs, it goes with the provision of having skilled people to attend to the patient. Mr. Speaker, we cannot talk about quality and safety if we don't talk about the customer service. One of the things that has happened in many medical sectors is where you find the treatment of a patient when they appear in a facility. Everybody was complaining here that you can go to a medical facility and you find you are not attended in good time. This bill is talking about how to enhance customer service for the patients who appear in hospitals. Mr. Speaker, you know, people have died in hospital. We have heard one of our members talking about here. He went to an hospital. There were nobody attended to their daughter, their son. So where is the efficiency? So really, this bill to me, I think, has come the right time, and we needed to pass it. The issue of whether it's an authority or not, that's not the issue. The issue is providing services to the citizens of this country. I therefore, Mr. Speaker, with those few comments, I want to support this bill and ask the members, please, let's support it, because every Kenyan is watching what this government is doing. They are listening to us. We have spoken about universal health care. We have spoken about share. We have spoken about many things, drugs, everything. Let's make it easier for Kenyans. Let's create a wealth community. Let's create, let's create a very affordable health services. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Alice Nganga, are you for this? Yes, Dick Maungu.
Mr. Speaker, I seek to rise on standing order number 95 and note that you seem to have had sufficient discussion on the same, Mr. Speaker, and therefore the mover may be called to reply with your permission.
Is that the mood of the House?
Yes.
Mover? And as when you come to respond, pick the point that Rindikiri has said. You know, have you ever gone to a hospital in India? When you arrive in the hospital, you think you are entering a bank or an airport launch. Full protocol, PR, ushers, helping everybody. You go to a premier hospital in Nairobi, you find an askari with a rungu welcoming you. If you pass this law, you have to change this. Each hospital, if you want to give proper Medicare, psychologically, every patient has to be psychologically aided to feel that the place he's entering, if it's a hospital she's entering, is better than home where you are sick. But you enter a hospital and you find very furious bouncers standing outside with rungus. You don't know whether you are entering a war zone or a health facility. I hope this bill is going to change, because on our way to Singapore, we must carry everything and everybody to modernity. Yes, Jalango, the mover is to reply. You have something on this?
Yes. That even as we discuss this issue and this bill, Mr. Speaker, you saw what is happening at Ishara Level 4 Hospital. It's very appalling, where even the mortuary attendant is having a bucket to wash bodies and embalm, and the water itself is dirty. So even this bill should address things like that. And another thing, as you talk even about bouncers and watchmen carrying rungus, there's even the worst thing in other district hospitals where they sell even coffins outside the hospitals. As you drive in with your patients to go in for treatment, they even lose hope of even getting well. So this bill should actually discuss, as you say, on our way to Singapore, we need to change a lot of things. And one of them should be what this bill is addressing. That the mover wants to reply on this, it should still come here and be sufficient for debate. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Owen.
Thank you, Speaker. And I want to say this in reply, Honorable Speaker, that this bill, the Quality Healthcare and Patient Safety Bill of 2025, is one of those signposts as we approach Singapore, is one of the signposts that we must see as we proceed on the journey. Because for us to really proceed to that first world level, then we need to take some measures to reform the health sector in this country. And one of the most important reforms that we must do is to look at care of patients and safety of patients. And that is why this bill is very fundamental on that journey, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I have listened to the debate that has ensued, and apart from the issues that the Kisumu West MP was raising, there are certain fundamental things in this bill. For example, Honorable Speaker, if someone went to hospital and there was an accident or an incident that happened, and that patient seeks justice, he will require probably 3 years. We had Honorable Beatrice Alachi telling us about Justice Majanja's case, where I think there was a misdiagnosis of issues happened, and they have been seeking justice since then, and the court has never issued a ruling or a judgment on the same. And yet he was a judge. And yet this bill, Honorable Speaker, establishes a tribunal that brings on board members of the medical practitioner and legal officers who have a background in
And I
Migoma.
hope you are not piling doctors in that tribunal to protect each other.
No, actually the reason, Honorable Speaker, why this is coming here is that we have seen, if you look at KMPDU as a regulatory body for safety and all that, what they do some peer protection of the doctors there. If you go to the nursing council, if a nurse makes a mistake, you go there, they have some peer issues there and they protect each other. But this body that we are setting up, Honorable Speaker, will actually cure this. We also looked at the issue of forum shopping, where when you have an issue in the medical field as a professional, you want to see which area, which body can best protect me. And therefore, instead of going to the right body, you are tossed up here and there so that the doctor gets protection. We have nothing against doctors, but what we are saying is the safety of the patients must be guaranteed, not just in the Constitution, but even in the statute that we are passing. And this statute is very important, Honorable Speaker. So this bill, and I wish to request every member as we come to the third reading, Honorable Speaker, and as we debate at the Committee of the Whole, has very fundamental things that will change the health sector, Honorable Speaker, moving forward. And therefore, I want to thank those that contributed yesterday and those that have contributed today, and we look forward to not just the constitutional requirement that government must provide health services and health care, Honorable Speaker, but quality health care and safety for all patients. I beg to reply, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 10, which is that the Quality Healthcare and Patient Safety Bill, National Assembly Bill number 41 of 2025, be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to give effect to Article 43(1)(a) of the Constitution to provide for the responsibility of the national and county governments in the realization of quality of health care for patients, to provide for the establishment, powers and functions of the Quality Healthcare and Patient Safety Authority, registration, licensing, and accreditation of health facilities, to provide for the setting of standards for quality of healthcare and for connected purposes.
Thank you, honorable members. On the next two orders, I've had a request from the promoters of the bill at Article 12, the Public Participation Bill, to reorganize, and have sought the concurrence of Jane Kagiri. So clerk will start with 12 before we come back to 11. So call out order number 12.
Order number 12, the Public Participation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2025, second reading.
Mover.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the Public Participation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2025, be now read a second time. Mr. Speaker, allow me first to thank the Honorable Jane Kagiri for the indulgence. Mr. Speaker, this public participation bill is one that has been long overdue. It is timely. It is one which has been required by judicial edict. It is one which has been demanded by the public. It is one which has been encouraged by the public participation organization, public benefits organization, and it is one that has been promised by no less a person than yourself, Mr. Speaker. Beyond Article 118 that most of us are familiar with in public participation, this bill goes to the various public offices that would be required to do public participation. And therefore, the objects capture Article 1, Article 10, Article 69, Article 184, and Article 232, in addition to Article 118. Mr. Speaker, this bill, although promoted by the Honorable Samuel Chepkonga and myself, is one that has benefited immensely from various drafts before that. Mr. Speaker, you'll recall that there have been various drafts on public participation bills by private members. There has been a draft by the Attorney General, and all these drafts
were then brought together under the legislative caucus of this assembly. Mr. Speaker, you'll recall that this caucus is one that was put together by yourself and has been immensely beneficial to this House in a variety of ways. In terms of overview, Mr. Speaker, first, this bill seeks to put a framework, but it's a minimalist framework, a basic framework for public participation without being overly prescriptive. It covers a number of areas. One, it covers what we call the responsible authorities. The responsible authority being each office that would be required by law to undertake public participation, be it a county office, be it the judiciary, be it parliament. And it goes ahead to designate who in that institution would be held responsible if public participation is not done. This bill gives general guidelines and requires a responsible authority to now also develop its own unique guidelines, because public participation as done by the county cannot be the same as done by national government or as done by the local chief. So each office then must designate its own guidelines and regulations that will guide it accordingly. It requires that before public participation there must be sufficient notice. The documents on which the public's view is required must be available in time and in a language that is easily understood where that public participation is taking place. It also requires access to the documents and access to persons, including persons with disability. Mr. Speaker, it addresses a very fundamental question that the public raised: meaningful public participation. There was immense complaints, especially on the part of county governments, that they do salutary public participation that is artificial in terms of who attends, in terms of what they say, and in terms of feedback. Mr. Speaker, this bill also seeks to cure something that we have had to suffer. Where a particular bill comes to the National Assembly, we have to do public participation. It goes to the Senate, they have to do it also. And so it provides that where either house has done meaningful public participation, you do not need to repeat it. And Mr. Speaker, in order to make this prescriptive and serious, this bill proposes criminal penalty. And the criminal penalty, where you fail to undertake public participation, is you'd be fined up to 500,000 Kenya shillings. Once it was published, Mr. Speaker, there was an advert in the papers, and immediately there was an avalanche of views that were sent by way of memoranda to this House. That was before we even undertook the countrywide, public engagements that we did. Mr. Speaker, I want to report to you that once it was committed to the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, chaired by the Honorable George Murugara, deputized by the Honorable Mwengi Mutuse, the committee did a very good job of engaging the promoters and then divided themselves into 3 separate groups, and in 1 week covered the majority of the counties in this republic. In that exercise, the committee engaged with many groups, and they are all captured in the preface of the report in their thousands, so that in addition to what was received earlier, Kenyans gave their views robustly on the public participation bill. And the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee benefited immensely, as will be explained by the chair shortly, on a number of things. They were able to make proposals on how to recapture the objects of the bill. They were able to re-emphasize the place of sovereignty of the people on the bill. They were able to emphasize that public participation must be a civic duty, and it must not be something for which anyone expects to be paid. Because if that happens, then it becomes a form of corruption and doctored. They were able to give feedback, Mr. Speaker, on the need to simplify the language and adhere to the wording of the Constitution, not just to print things in English and or Swahili, but to include Kenyan Sign Language. They were able to emphasize on the need for accessibility. The irony of it, Mr. Speaker, is that there are places we went to as a committee, and our committee has 2 members who are living with disability, and they could not access the very place for public participation on the public participation bill. And so that has been re-emphasized. They were able to emphasize on the mechanisms of giving feedback so that the people can know whether their views were considered, and if they were, why they were rejected if they were not adopted. They were able to insist that any public participation exercise must have the assurance of Article 35, that there's freedom of expression and you will not be vilified or victimized because of what you say during public participation. They were able to say, Mr. Speaker, that in their opinion, the penalty of 500,000 is not even sufficient. They wanted the amount increased, and they wanted the alternative of a jail term. And they were able to say, Mr. Speaker, that at the end of the day, they would still want the court to have the last say on whether that public participation was meaningful or not meaningful, and therefore to be declared void or otherwise. Overall, Mr. Speaker, it is our opinion as the sponsors, and it is the opinion of the committee, that this bill is long overdue. Members should robustly participate on improving it. A lot of the things that one might see on the original draft will have been amended during the committee stage, and the amendments as proposed are actually contained on the last 3 pages of the report. There's a robust report which I urge members to read in all its 80 pages. Mr. Speaker, with your permission, I would beg to move and ask that the Honorable George Murugara second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
George Murugara.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to second this very important bill, a bill that is long overdue. And I begin by thanking the Senior Counsel, Honorable Otiende Amolo, and the Senior Advocate, Honorable Samuel Chepkonga, for doing this with the very, very able guidance of the House, the Honorable Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, so that we are able to put the issue of Article 118 of the Constitution to rest by making a provision or making provisions on how public participation should be conducted by every entity that is required to do so. This was one of the bills we found most suitable because it had reservations for each entity to have its own guidelines as regards how they would do public participation. However, the guidelines must be in compliance with the particular act and also in compliance with our Constitution, so that we do not have guidelines that, even if are not statutory instruments, do not contravene the Act and the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, I must also commend the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee and every member. They are all supposed to be here. I see my Vice Chairman present because we went around the country in 3 groups. We were able to talk to Kenyans at their local levels. The idea was to hear from them what exactly they expect when we do public participation. And their contribution is wide. It is well captured in the reports that we laid in this House. And most importantly, it is good to alert the House that they made various proposals for amendments, which proposals we went through one by one with a tooth comb. And most of them carried the day as far as we are concerned. We are going to propose those amendments in the 3rd reading of the bill, so that the public out there may also know that they were not wasting their time when they made those proposals. What came out most importantly was the fact that the public requires to know what is the fate of their contribution to any policy statement that they discuss or to any bill that is taken to them. Do they have to make proposals that are cosmetic, which means they are just on the surface of it to try and sugarcoat the bill, or do they have to make proposals which are deeply considered by the enactors of the law, by the policymakers when it comes to issues of public participation. It's interesting to say that for the first time, while doing public participation, we actually met children because a group of young students from school came to us and they said they wanted to make representations. We were a bit taken aback because we felt possibly they were not of age, they may not have known exactly what is to be done, until our attention was drawn to Section 28 of the Children's Act, which actually equates children to adults, including making a provision that they would participate in all matters, including legislation that affects them. So we were convinced that we needed to hear the children, and I believe in most of the matters that we do, whether policy statements, policy papers, or legislation, children are affected, and it is the high time we started listening to them. Maybe it has two advantages. Number one, their being affected is taken into consideration. Number two, we are also growing them so that they know what is going on around them and they are able to grasp these matters as we go along, and as we go along to make policy statements or we go along to make laws that affect them. Honorable Speaker, at the third reading of this bill, the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs will bring the schedule of amendments proposed, which amendments we feel are very, very important. They enrich this bill, and they enrich it in such a way that it is the contribution of Kenyans that goes into the bill to make it a better bill than even what this parliament had come up with, so that at the end of the day, Kenyans consume what is suitable to them, what they consider to be most important to them, and we also settle the issue of courts trying to tell us what public participation is. They have always guided us that it should not be cosmetic, it should be valuable, it should not be seen to be just glossing over all that terminology, meaning now we are going to have an act of parliament dealing with Article 118 specifically, which is important to the rest of the country. With those remarks, Honorable Speaker, allow me to second.
Honorable members, I now propose a question at order number 12, which is that the Public Participation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2025, be now read a second time. Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Sorry, apologies for that. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to be able to contribute to the debate relating to the Public Participation Bill. I must first commend my colleagues in the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, particularly the chairperson, and all the others for having done a very thorough job of preparation of this bill. I know that I was able to attend one or two of the meetings, particularly the last one when they were reviewing the entire act. And a lot of thought was put in. The participation was very animated, and they took into account all the issues that had been raised by the courts. But I just had two issues with the bill that I will raise. So I support the bill in its entirety, save for clause 20 and clause 12.2. Honorable Speaker, clause 20 says that a responsible authority who is conducting public participation, if they willfully fails to adhere to the principles and guidelines set out under the Act, commits an offense and shall be liable upon conviction to a fine not exceeding 5,000 shillings. Honorable Speaker, I tried very hard to persuade the members of the Jailer Committee, and there was various thoughts about it. But these are my thoughts. That clause proposes criminal sanctions on the various persons identified as responsible authorities. That would include include the Attorney General, the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, the Clerk of the National Assembly, the Director of Public Prosecution, and even the Clerk of the County Assembly, governors, etc. The worrying about this is that, yes, those responsible authorities may be the focal points in facilitation of the public participation, but it would be extremely dangerous and very alarming if there were to be criminal sanctions against them for things that sometimes they have no control over. Even a good manager can make a mistake in the course of their work or make an omission in the course of the work, even if they are acting in good faith. Let's take Parliament, for example. The Clerk of the National Assembly does not undertake public participation. He undertakes public participation as a responsible authority using the staff members of Parliament and who are supporting the relevant parliamentary committee. It would be wholly unfair to expose the clerk, in this case as an example, to criminal penalties for sometimes a task that he has delegated. He may not even be aware that those omissions were committed. So whenever, and I say it's sufficient that the penalties or the consequences could be that the law would be voided or is voidable. That should be sufficient. But to indict a single officer would be unfair. In fact, the responsibility should actually be on the entire committee. But in this case, even though it is the committee and other staff members who have participated and committed the omission or the commission, it is only one single officer in that particular state department that would be affected or in that arm of government. So with saying all this, and I can give an example. For example, clause number 7C, it says the general guidelines for public participation. One of the things that the responsible authority must take into account is the impact of the matter on the public. That's a very subjective guideline. So what I would interpret as impact to the public may not be interpreted by another person as impact to the public. Subclause F also of clause 7 says the ability of the members of the public to access the necessary information under the public participation forum. Again, this is subjective. One may find that the access has been provided, but others may find that that is not the case. And to hold one officer in the institution liable is, I think, is unfair and I think almost unconstitutional. Because remember, if any public officer commits a mistake in the course of their work, there is the human resource regulations that can take over. They can also be surcharged. So there is also already existing penalties for failure, not just to undertake public participation in the manner it's supposed to be undertaken, but also in any other processes in the course of their duties. So with that, Honorable Speaker, I wish to give notice that during the Committee of the Whole House, I shall be proposing deletion of clause 20 or an amendment that is more, not as punitive to that extent. And then it takes me to the second one. And I want to say I agree with the entire bill, except only on those two items. Clause number 12, subclause 2. So subclause 1 says that a responsible authority shall analyze and take into account the submissions received from the public. That's perfectly in order. But subclause 2 says a responsible authority shall publish the outcome of the public participation exercise. That's an onerous task. It's a very expensive task. It means they have to post it on the website. They have to post it maybe in the local dailies and other media, etc. I think that already so much has been put into undertaking the public participation and notifying members. They're already putting it on social platforms, the notices, the public hearings, the meetings, notice board, print media, electronic media, television, radio, etc. That's the publication that's done prior to the actual exercise being undertaken. But to say that there should be another publication after the public participation, I think is going to be a rather onerous and very expensive task. I think we can find a middle ground where we say that the fact is the analysis has been done and that can be confirmed to the public. If any member of the public wants the report or the findings or the outcome of the public participation exercise, instead of publishing it, it can be available and any member of the public can ask for it under the Freedom of Information Act when requested. And we've seen that this is normal even in many jurisdictions relating to certain items to boost efficiency. Like in some countries, judges are not required to write a full reasoned judgment in certain category of cases. All they have to do is hand down the orders. And if any person wants to appeal, they can then ask for a full reasoned judgment. Or if they want to have access to it, they can request it. That way, it allows those entities to work efficiently and faster and without much cost. Because publishing each and every outcome of the public participation exercise, some of them no one is interested, some of them nobody will be objecting to, and there will be millions of them going on at any one time across the country and across many state corporations. And that would be putting an extra burden and an extra cost on those state corporations. So again, I wish to give notice that during the Committee of the Whole House, I shall propose again an amendment so that we say that that outcome can be availed upon request to any member of the public. And with that, Honorable Speaker, save for those two clauses, I support this bill in its entirety and appreciate the members of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and also appreciate the Honorable Samuel Chepkonga and the Honorable Atende Amolo, who have been at the forefront of this, including the Parliamentary Legislative Caucus, because this will put a rest to all the challenges that we've been having to the legislation that this House has been passing at the courthouses. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Ekomas Mutuse.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute on the debate on the public participation bill. Mr. Speaker, I am a member, courtesy of your appointment, of the National Assembly Legislative Caucus, and I also serve as the Vice Chair of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. And as a result, I have interacted from the beginning up to the moment with the public participation bill. Mr. Speaker, as many of us know, public participation is among the values of governance that we enshrined in our Constitution and Article 10. And there are nearly 10 provisions in our Constitution that speak to the question of public participation. And therefore, it is a constitutional imperative. However, since passing and promulgating our new Constitution in the year 2010, we have never had a law by Parliament to say how public participation is going to be conducted in terms of the form and substance. The result of the lack of a law on public participation has been that our courts of law have had varied interpretations on how public participation is to be conducted, the quality, the extent, the form, and the substance. The result has been that even in cases where the facts, where the evidence and the applicable law appear similar, different judges have had different findings on our matters. As a result, many good decisions of the executive, many good laws passed by this parliament have been nipped on account of the varied interpretations on how public participation is to be conducted. And therefore, it was imperative that Parliament comes up with a law so that we can set the standard, one standard, on how public participation is to be conducted, and if matters would reach the courts of law, how courts of law are going to treat this matter. I therefore wish to congratulate the Honorable Otiende Omolo, Senior Council Member for Rarieda, the Honorable Chepkonga, the two co-chairs of the National Assembly Legislative Caucus for piecing up the different proposals that have been there in the past and coming up with this 21-clause public participation bill that I believe Parliament will enact finally for assent to be our public participation law. Mr. Speaker, as we went around conducting public participation, and as we all know, public participation, we have two levels of government. We have the national, we have the county. We have 47 county governments. As we went around, it became apparent that many counties also have public participation laws. They have enacted their own laws, and if you scrutinize those laws that have been passed by the different county assemblies, you realize, for example, the law passed by the County Assembly of Makueni to guide public participation in Makueni may be different from that of the County Assembly of Meru and many others. And therefore, the question of how shall public participation be conducted in the face of a national law when there are many other varied county laws also came forth. Mr. Speaker, we find the answer in Article 191 of the Constitution in terms of how to treat conflict between national and county laws. And because the subject of public participation is a national subject that has application in the entire territory of Kenya, national legislation will take precedence. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, sorry, I had not noticed that you've taken the chair, so my apologies. There is the question of feedback, and I know the Deputy Speaker has spoken to it. And everywhere we went, Kenyans were saying that they are tired of being called to participate in public participation and they do not know what became of their views in those public participation forums. And they were demanding that they need a feedback mechanism so that whether you agree, whether the body making the decisions, body making the law, body making the policies, agrees or disagrees with the views the public has given, they are made to know what became of their views. And we personally, and I think a majority of our committee members, believed strongly that this is the true meaning of Article 1 on sovereignty of the people. That the people are not merely to participate in as conveyor belts, in just giving views, and they do not know finally what became of their views. One interesting suggestion that came from members of the public, and I believe this was all over, is that members of the public were saying that sometimes it is costly on them to participate in these many public participation forums. And they were requesting that a budget needs to be set aside so that part of their costs are met as a result. We will be inviting Parliament to ponder on this question. But preliminarily, while every other part of the country seemed to say that they need to be catered for in terms of their spending, we found that that particular provision, if included, may be subject to abuse, because you cannot with certainty say how many members of the public will attend. You cannot with certainty say and predict that across the year how many public participation forums you will have, and therefore it will be onerous at the beginning to imagine even now to budget it, and it may be subject to abuse because it is difficult in terms of record keeping, it is difficult in terms of determining what rates to give where and when. We also thought that in terms of the Constitution, it is a civic duty of the people to participate in the affairs of their own country and in how governance is done. And just like Kenyans participate in voting without being paid, it is also on the same premise that they need to participate in public participation without being paid or reimbursed for it. Overall, Madam Speaker, I support the public participation bill with the amendments that the committee will be proposing. It is urgent that we pass this public participation bill into law so that we may have a law guiding this very important principle of good governance that is enshrined in our Constitution, and I urge members to expedite so that finally we may have a law on public participation. I support.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Luanda, Honorable Dick Maungu. I see you press the button. Do you want to contribute? Or you can give somebody else while you get yourself ready. Okay, proceed. Okay, the Honorable John Waluke, member for Sirisia. I can see you're on. All those who want to participate, kindly press the intervention button. The Honorable John Mutunga then. So if you're not participating, please withdraw, remove your card.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this very important bill. Honorable Speaker, for the last 16 years, we've been struggling with interpretation of what public participation is, and we have had several court judgments, several determinations, and several orders issued as a result of lack of a clear guidelines or law on public participation. Honorable Speaker, I want to start by thanking the members of the committee, the members of JLAC, and anyone else who has participated in this process to come up with a brief version of public participation. Honorable Speaker, brief as it is, and alluding to what some members have already said, there will be need for very comprehensive guidelines on how to determine the various provisions, or rather how to come up with the realities, the clarity on provisions, and the specificity of the issues that have been mentioned in this particular law. Honorable Speaker, in this particular legislative proposal. Honorable Speaker, there are several notables that have looked through the law and noted quite a number of issues that probably require our thought, even as we look through this particular bill. There is a provision for responsible authorities. And I think it's a very good idea to come up with the responsible authority, because we deal with different issues. We have different orientations, we have different mandates, and we therefore contribute to different spaces. So in view of the mandate, orientation, and space, there will be need for a specific interpretation of how public participation should be conducted as per the authority itself. So designating this responsibility to authorities, I think, is a good idea to try and resolve the issues, the lack of clarity, and the ambiguities that may be in terms of deciding how the public participation is supposed to be conducted. Honorable Speaker, when we have to conduct public participation in the past, or before this law is passed, a lot has just been assumed. People have designed their own ways of doing public participation. And the levels of satisfaction in view of the targeted audience to the public participation, or the targeted intention, has always been wanting. There is no clarity on the extent to which we have addressed the issue. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution has made many provisions that preempt us to think about defining public participation in Kenya. Many articles. Article 35, in view of the specificity of information and acquisition of the same, Article 118, 196, 201, so many of them. In view of the general guidelines, Honorable Speaker, I have noted that there are provisions on consideration, in consideration, provisions on considering to undertake public participation. When you look at the driver to public participation, then there must be clarity on exactly what is it that requires us to do public participation. The question is, to what extent are we going to be defining this in order to provide requisite clarity? The notice for public participation. I believe the legislative proposal has proposed specific, or rather the regulations will give us specific notice period. Because, Honorable Speaker, what has been lacking again is even the extent to which we popularize the fact that public participation is to take place. So giving notice is very important, but the extent to which, I mean, how long should the notice be? Madam Speaker, in defining the models of public participation, models are now to notify the public on the public participation. We have in the past relied on the media, the mainstream media, and both the print and the electronic media. When we go to authority, we become authority specific. It therefore calls upon us to look at the specific guidelines within the communication system of an authority. And therefore, we are likely to have different and variant models of passing this information. In terms of the submissions themselves during the public participation, Madam Speaker, what comes to my mind is, how are we going to guide the submission? And I want to link this, Madam Speaker, with the anticipated report. The anticipated report and the legislative proposal is very specific. It's an outcome report. It is not a report of participation. It's not a report of the discussions that go by. It's a report of the agreements, what has come out of that particular public participation process. Madam Speaker, looking at that and going back to the courts, I can see a possibility that unless the regulations are very, very clear, then we shall be having questions on the procedure, we shall be having questions on the quality, we shall be having questions of the reasonable time that has been given to public participation, and so on and so forth. In order to curb that, we may have to agree as a House how much time should we say is apportioned, a maximum, a minimum of so much, because maximum will again depend on the levels of participation. The processing of the responses themselves, Honourable Speaker, to satisfy Kenyans, they must be adequately responded to. The extent of the responses themselves, some of the responses may not be ready at the point in time when they are required to be given. They may also be requiring other decisions to be made off-site. So in view of the responses, Honourable Speaker, we will still need to ask ourselves, what is quality response and how much should a quality response basically contain? When it comes to access to public information, I mean access to public participation process itself, Kenyans are guided by the Constitution, especially Article 1, Article 10, Article 35, to basically seek for participation. And in pursuit for participation, based on the extent to which we have popularized a public participation process, people will come out and say they have not had enough time. So in terms of defining these guidelines, we need to be very, very careful on the provisions that we come up with that basically will define the way we develop the process of public participation. We need to be extremely careful on how we publicize public participation and how do we come up with the specific guidelines. Because when you talk about an authority, the authority is then left to use their own internal mechanisms and internal procedures to develop specific guidelines. But Honourable Speaker, all is not lost. In view of this particular legislative proposal, I have noted carefully that there are miscellaneous provisions. In these miscellaneous provisions, we are accorded an opportunity for additional information, for general penalties, and also transitional provisions. When it comes to additional information, there is always some new and different idea that probably would contribute to enhancing the position that has been taken. There will also be other people who may not have participated in the public participation process, and then they are given an opportunity. But Honourable Speaker, we must ask ourselves, to what extent should we open up? Are we going to deal with the volume of the work that has already, of information that has been generated? Shall we be talking of timelines? How shall we determine quality? That's an issue that we need to think through even as we finalize this particular provision. Honourable Speaker, on the penalties, I think it is important for us to look at the penalties again. As we determine the penalties for lack of or inadequate public participation, Honourable Speaker, what are we saying? Is it the institution that is supposed to meet this cost? And if it is the institution that is supposed to meet this cost, how do this cost arouse consciousness or ensure that this institution will in future be able to deliver as per the expectations? To conclude my submissions, Honorable Speaker, public participation will need to be better guided. And in this particular case, I have in mind the supplementary legislation in terms of the regulations. When it comes to defining the regulations, we might be quantitative rather than being qualitative as we are here. Because qualitative provisions do not give specific guidelines. They are not very specific, and they open up too much. We might go back to what has always been there. We might backtrack instead of moving forward. With those few remarks, Honourable Speaker, I support adoption.
I think just let him finish his sentence kindly. Did you finish your sentence, Honorable Mutunga? Because they left you midway.
Yeah, Honourable Speaker, the last thing I was trying to say is that it might call us to be very specific and quantitative. And unless we agree on quantitative parameters to measure the quality, the time that is supposed to be taken, and the quality of the outcome. Because outcome, in my understanding, Honourable Speaker, is not the output report. It's not what happened. It is what was agreed upon and what was generally. We need to be able to measure how does a general agreement mean? By what percentage of people participating? I mean, what is the voting pattern of the people who are participating? So that we can be clear that we are satisfying the greater majority of Kenyans in a public participation process. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Tetu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to also add my voice to this very important debate. Madam Speaker, this is important because just like the people who have spoken ahead of me have said, we've had far too many laws in this country, good laws, collapse at the desk of the judiciary. And the common issue has been the issue of public participation. And Madam Speaker, two common words that have been used by the judiciary has been public participation being adequate and meaningful. And Madam Speaker, you'll agree with me that those are two words that are subject to very broad interpretation. The words adequate and the words meaningful. So Madam Speaker, I agree that public participation should not just be about ticking a box. It should not just be about going around and gathering a few people in a hall, inviting submissions. It must be something that must be seen that the people have actually participated fully and have lent their voice. A common issue around public participation has been where people feel that they give their views, but they don't feel like the final outcome or the final outcome that they see out of this house or out of whichever authority is conducting public participation, they don't feel like their views are incorporated. Madam Speaker, you can remember that we did public participation, Madam Speaker, you remember that we did public participation, for the finance bill of 2024. And then our young people felt that whatever they had told us, we never listened. So they came for us. So it is very, very important that people feel that whatever they have said is actually, incorporated. So we must start asking ourselves questions like, what is meaningful and what is adequate? For example, if I go and I'm conducting public participation in what level of engagement is sufficient? What is seen as inclusive public participation? But Madam Speaker, as we think about this, we must also think about the underside of this. And I remember when we were conducting public participation, to entrench our NGCDF and GAF and these other funds, I know the sort of effort that this House went through, especially the Clerk of a National Assembly. We conducted forums across the country in each ward, in each constituency. And these things can be potentially, time-consuming and also very, very costly. And so, Madam Speaker, I tend to agree with what the Honorable Dr. Mutunga has just said. This law that is before us lacks some, for me, lacks specifics. And we need to quantify, for example, what notice is sufficient. For example, what number of people participating in a public participation are sufficient. We must also specify, what number of memorandum, will be considered, sufficient. Otherwise, we may end up with endless litigation, whereby every wave of public participation is challenged. And because there is no quantitative issues specified in this act, someone will say, you went to maybe eight regions and conducted public participation in each, while maybe someone feels, or the judge feels, public participation should have been conducted at every ward, for example. So again, we need to give this, law some minimum time. How do we measure, so that this is seen as responsible? Madam Speaker, I wish to refer you, or I wish to refer to Section 4, 2 of this Act. And if you look at Section 4.2a, again, it's talked about us conducting public participation in the formulation and implementation of public policy. Now, public policy is, again, a very broad document. I mean, a very broad issue. Section B talks about law-making process. That is specific because laws are made by either this House or, a Senate or the county assemblies. But when you talk about formulation and implementation of public policies, and you think about all the ministries, you think about all the departments, you think about all the agencies that may be dealing with matters that may affect the general public, I can guess, Madam Speaker, that as a country we may be boxing ourselves in what I would call policy paralysis. Because we may not move as a country because suddenly everything is subject to some form of public participation, or not. If the governor of Nairobi wants to issue maybe policies regarding, say, hawking or collection of refuse, and it's seen as a public policy matter, this will always have to come to, a public participation, and this may end up being very costly for the country and also stagnating, the progress, that the country makes. The other thing is that public participation, Madam Speaker, cannot be the subject of political manipulation. In very many cases, we have seen, that the public participation is most of the time either led by those possibly who support the law. I think we must create a way that even those who oppose, even those who have dissenting voices, have a way of being able to reasonably, participate, in this public participation. So, Madam Speaker, I find this law a little bit not specific. I find most of the provisions being too broad, and I can think that if we pass this law as it is, I think we will not have resolved the issues that we are dealing with the courts, where courts raise issues of adequacy and meaningfulness, because again, we have failed to quantify them and have gone for very broad policies, very broad, nice-sounding suggestions, but which can easily be challenged in any court of law. So I would suggest that the committee goes back and sees how we tighten this law a little bit. It's a good law, I support it, but as it sits, I don't think we'll have cured the issues under Article 10, Article 69, Article 118, Article 184, all the issues that the courts have been raising. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Timothy Toroitich, member for Marakwet West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on this very important bill, the Public Participation Bill 2025. Honorable Speaker, as Parliament, this is one of the most progressive bills that will ever pass as a House. Honorable Speaker, in petition number 5 of 2017, British American Tobacco Kenya PLC versus Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Health and others, the court actually pointed out that we do not have a prescribed legal framework for public participation in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, the court recommended that Parliament should enact a legislation to provide for a proper legal framework on matters to do with public participation in this country. Honorable Speaker, Article 1 of our Constitution talks about sovereignty of the people, that the people are supreme. Honorable Speaker, for that reason, we must be able to consult to seek public approval for any matter that touches on the public, be it a policy document, be it a legislation, be it any type of a document that that touches the public directly. Honorable Speaker, many bills in this House have been passed but have been vitiated by the courts for the reason of lack of public participation. Honorable Speaker, I believe that the enactment of this legislation will be able to settle matters to do with public participation in this country because it provides a comprehensive legal framework, step by step, on how public participation shall be conducted in this country. Honorable Speaker, running through the bill, we have issues of notices. This bill has settled the issue of notices, that a proper notice shall be issued on matters to do with public participation. Honorable Speaker, in terms of a responsible authority, upon enactment of this particular legislation, Honorable Speaker, we shall find, or we shall have a responsible authority in each state agency. For example, Honorable Speaker, if it is a matter to do with a legislation by the National Assembly, then the responsible person who shall be liable in the event that a public participation is not conducted, then it is the clerk of the National Assembly. The same case applies to the issue of the county assembly at the county government level. Honorable Speaker, Clause 8 of this bill provides for what you call responsible authorities. Honorable Speaker, for me, that is a plus in terms of settling the issue of public participation in this country. Honorable Speaker, Clause 9(2), 1A to E, further provides the modalities. Honorable Speaker, prior to this legislation, apart from the guidelines by the Supreme Court, this particular law has highlighted or has given a directive on the modes of notifying the public. Honorable Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, the websites, public meetings, public notice boards, print media, and any other form of notification that is reasonable to that extent. Honorable Speaker, the issue of analyzing submissions by the public. When we went around as the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, Honorable Speaker, fundamental issues were raised. The members of the public raised the issue as to whether their views are taken into account. Honorable Speaker, Clause 11 and 12, actually 12, 1 and 2, provides very clearly, Honorable Speaker, that the responsible authority shall analyze and take into account submissions received from the public. 2 provides that that authority shall publish the outcome of the public participation exercise. Honorable Speaker, currently, we do not have a framework of analyzing, taking into account, and publishing the views of the public. But, Honorable Speaker, when we pass this particular legislation, we shall have a framework of analyzing, taking into account, and further publishing the outcome of the public participation. Honorable Speaker, further, Clause 13(2), in terms of the language that the participants shall be able to use, the law, this proposed bill provides that those undertaking public participation must use a language that the people in which we are seeking to undertake public participation are conversant to. Honorable Speaker, it says that language shall be English or Kiswahili or a language that the participants understand. Honorable Speaker, that is taking information to the people because the people pursuant to Article 35 have a right to information. Honorable Speaker, further, in terms of public participation by Parliament, Honorable Speaker, for the first time, we have a proper guidance under Clause 18. For example, a bill that originates from the Senate and is passed by this House. Honorable Speaker, we have settled this under this particular bill, that if Senate has conducted a bill, has conducted public participation, and the bill is handed over to the National Assembly, then there is no need to duplicate public participation unless there are additional views that were not captured in the Senate. So, Honorable Speaker, that settles the issue of public participation in a bicameral setup like we have in this country. Honorable Speaker, further, and as I sum up, under Clause 20, for the first time, Honorable Speaker, we have created an offense. And Clause 20, for the avoidance of doubt, says that, or reads, a responsible authority who, in conducting public participation, willfully fails to adhere to the principles and guidelines set out under this Act, commits an offense and shall be liable upon conviction to a fine not exceeding 500,000 shillings. Honorable Speaker, that issue was contentious. There are those who are proposing that we should, as a House, we should amend to provide a civil remedy. For example, that law be vitiated. Once a public participation is not conducted, that law becomes null and void, depending on the arguments presented in court. Honorable Speaker, there are those who have said that it should remain as a criminal, we should retain the criminal punishment. In fact, others proposed that we should introduce a term of imprisonment not exceeding 6 months. Honorable Speaker, we agreed on some issues in the Jailer Committee, but in my own opinion, which I shall present at the Committee of the Whole, the issue of funding, the issue of funding in public participation. There are those who argued that public participation is a civic duty, and there is no need to give an incentive for individuals to appear in public participation. But, Honorable Speaker, in Kajiado, an old man said that he traveled all the way, almost 400 kilometers, to Kajiado town, and therefore should be reimbursed. You know, there's an element of a reimbursement to cater for transport. So, Honorable Speaker, that is a contentious issue, and as a House, we must resolve. In my opinion, we should introduce a fund, a public participation fund, to be managed by the authorities as prescribed in the proposed legislation, so that, you know, it becomes reasonable to reimburse to a certain extent. But there are those who have argued that it's a civic duty, and therefore it is an obligation, just like voting, that you don't have to give an incentive to anybody to go and vote. Honorable Speaker, as I sum up, I support, Honorable Speaker, the letter, the intent, and the spirit of this particular legislation, so that we settle the law on public participation once and for all. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Edward Murui, member for Kitanga. Give him the mic. I think next to you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity also to air my comments on this noble bill. And before I make my few comments on it, allow me just to commend the good job done by Honorable Omolo Tende and Honorable Chepkonga coming up with this bill. Madam Speaker, I have a few comments which again I'll be able to put in at the right moment, hopefully in the Committee of the Full House. But as a member of this caucus, I would like to put my support on this bill. It is good, but it can be better. Madam Speaker, maybe just two issues. Madam Speaker, this bill is grounded on Article 1 of the Constitution, that the power belongs to the people. And when you want to change the law of the people, the governance law, you must first and foremost consult the people. And therefore, these are very, very important and fundamental law which we need to look into very, very carefully so that we don't offend Article 1 of our Constitution. Second, Madam Speaker, the matters pertaining to public participation have seen themselves in the court corridors quite on a number of many, many matters. And I think the judges have proclaimed themselves on very, very many occasions that public participation need not only need to be seen to be done, but seen to be done. There must be a matrix to measure the qualitative and the quantitative participation, public participation. And they have also said numerous times that the law on public participation in our Constitution, it is not a decoration in our statutes and must be seen to take effect. And therefore, Madam Speaker, the question which this bill needs to answer is, has it responded to the issues raised on racial dissidenti by our courts, on the actual issues raised by the court, on whether it has met that threshold? And Madam Speaker, my view is that it is a hit and a miss. Madam Speaker, why are we addressing this issue? Because on numerous public participation, what the public says outside this house and what comes to this house are two totally different views. And therefore, the public are left wondering, what happened to our contribution? There are many examples. I can give the first example, is when we went out to do a public participation to impeach the deputy president of this republic. What did the people say? Did they say he be impeached or not? What happened outside there and what came to parliament is very different. Secondly, there's the issue about the Safaricom sale, the Kenya pipeline sale. When you read what the public said outside there and what was brought to parliament, they are in total disagreement. And therefore, the danger of ignoring the public is this. Once the public knows that their views are never taken seriously, when they know that whenever they brought their issues, they are never find themselves in this house, when they know that the people who prepare the public participation, they have premeditated outcome of that public participation, Madam Speaker, we kill the morale of our people and the spirit of the law will die. And therefore, Madam Speaker, my clear recommendation, and I think which we also need to put in this bill, we must put in very clear parameters of how do you measure the quality and the quantity of the public participation. And that report, are we able to bring it to Parliament verbatim? And number three, how do we weight? How do we put the weighting on the one who are for and the one who are opposed? How do we bring the weighting so at least by the time because it's a democracy, and make sure that the will of the majority prevails. And Madam Speaker, that is an element which is missing, and in my opinion that at the fullness of the time, this bill, I'm sure you can be able to make it better. They have started very well, and I think with the participation of members and a few amendments which are also going to bring it into this parliament, to this house, we will be able to make this law extremely, extremely conducive, extremely facilitative, and I'm sure even the quality of our legislation, if you're able to capture the process of public participation, we'll be able to bring more quality bills in this house. I support, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Sakimba, member for Kajiado South.
Honorable Speaker, I also stand to support the bill by Honorable Chepkonga and Honorable Otienda Amolo on the Public Participation Bill 2025. Madam Speaker, it is good to appreciate that this House is mandated to make the laws.
and having observed the Constitution, it's basically the foundations of the legitimate to lawmaking, to have the voice of wananchi. Madam Speaker, laws made without wananchi, it ends with the struggle ends with the wananchi. And the proposed bill is going to ensure, the way I've seen the content of the proposed bill, is ensuring to have even an authority, which makes me happy, that is able to come up, if you look at the clause 8, 2, a notice under section 1 shall include venue, time, date, and mode of public participation. Every time court directs and looks on terms of on the nature of notice, time, and even the adequate information that has been obtained. Because they look on the real facts, it's not just on the mere public participation, but they try to see if whatever was collected from wananchi, is it able to influence the outcome? And Madam Speaker, we have been participating in public participation. And we are building trust on public participation to be mostly on the memorandums written by people who are more informed. But this bill today is coming to take care of the wananchi who are going to be affected directly by the law this House makes. Parliament, or the proposed bill that have been brought today in the floor of the House, is going to create a trust between us and the wananchi, or the Kenyan people, by knowing that whatever this Parliament passes, whatever the county assemblies passes, we are passing what they understand. If you go back and see the clause 12, even on the account, I've really checked even the 13 too. They are saying that they have even introduced now the issue of both the English and Kiswahili. But they are also looking at the laws that are better understood, practical, and acceptable. We have been seeing languages, all of us are not lawyers, even myself, I'm not a lawyer, but we even see the words which are in our constitution, or when we are making a law, even the wananchi is not able to even to interpret. And given the time that they are told to come for public participation, even to be told, it is very hard. So by having this kind of organization to have who now takes the responsibility, it is going to assist this country in a big.
Allow him to finish his sentence.
Allow me to finish, please. Madam Speaker, we have been having a problem of lack of evidence because we don't have records, we don't know who has been consulted, and I agree with other members who have presented on the issue of the matrix. We can be able to understand who are these people who have been interviewed for the public participation, who participated, and then what have they said? Because we find out this House, it is very rare to get the report that says, this is what the people said, these are the people who have been interviewed, these are the people who participated for the public participation, these are the people who agreed, these are people who have disagreed. And I agree with this one, it's going to assist a lot, Madam Speaker. And I stand just to support. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving me a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Ivo Barra, member for Kabonda Kasip.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And I too rise to support the bill and appreciate the committee for a job well done. Madam Speaker, this bill sets out to provide a comprehensive legal framework for public participation in governance and decision-making process in both our national and county government levels. Madam Speaker, this bill seeks to also actualize Articles 10 and 118 of the Constitution, which emphasizes public participation, particularly in key national value and principles of governance. Madam Speaker, if you look at the bill, you'll see that it seeks to define the principles and standards of public participation. That is ensuring inclusivity, accessibility, transparency, and accountability in all governance processes. It also mandates public institutions, that is including the ministries, departments, state corporations, and county governments, to establish and maintain mechanism and continuous engagement with the citizens. It also provides procedures and timelines, which is key in conducting public participation, including notice requirement, submission of views, and publication of reports on public input in good time. It also introduces digital and innovative platform, Madam Speaker. We know that this has been a problem, particularly when citizens have not been able to reach to areas where these exercises take place. It will also empower marginalized and special interest groups, which is very important. That is including persons with disability, youth, women, and to effectively engage in the public process. And finally, Madam Speaker, it also sets out monitoring and reporting mechanism. So there will be feedback to demonstrate how public views have been considered in the final decision that is made. Madam Speaker, I looked at the key results area of this bill, and I'm happy that it promotes transparency, inclusivity, and accountability in governance. Madam Speaker, it also strengthens citizen engagement and trust in public institutions. It will also enhance policy legitimacy by integrating public participation input in decision making. It will also provide a uniform national framework, reducing inconsistencies in participation processes. Madam Speaker, there are also a few concerns that I have. One is potential delay in decision-making due to extensive participation procedures. This may need to be looked at. And the risk of tokenistic or superficial consultation, if not properly enforced. Of course, we also know that implementation may also require significant financial and administrative resources, which I believe should be able to be taken care of. Once again, Madam Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Thika Town. Honorable Alice Nganga. Mine is the next one. Oh, yours is the next one. Yeah. Okay. The Honorable Amina Mnyanzi, Member for Malindi.
Mheshimiwa Spika, asante sana kwa kunipatia hii nafasi. Na Mheshimiwa Spika, nasimama hapa kuunga mkono huu mswada wenye ambao uko hapa mbele yetu. Nao ni mswada wa ushirikishaji wa umma katika taifa letu la Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, wazungu wanasema power belongs to the people. Na sisi Waswahili tunasema madaraka ya nchi iko kwa mwananchi. So Mheshimiwa Spika, katiba yetu ya Kenya imepatia madaraka makubwa sana wananchi wa Kenya. Na katika katiba yetu Mheshimiwa Spika, venye ambavyo imekuwa imepitishwa, masuala ya ushirikishaji wa umma katika masuala ya maendeleo, katika masuala ya miradi, katika masuala ya sheria, imeipatia umma nguvu na kipaumbele ili kuhakikisha ya kwamba kile kitu ambacho kinachokipitishwa hapa ndani ya bunge la kitaifa katika county governments zote za Kenya iwe ni jambo lenye ambalo linaambatana na matakwa ya wananchi. Mheshimiwa Spika, hapo juzi na jana kumekuwa hakuna utaratibu wa kueleweka ya kufanya masuala ya ushirikishaji wa umma katika miradi, katika masuala ya maendeleo ya Kenya. Na saizi mswada huu utaweka mambo wazi. Mheshimiwa Spika, mswada huu unatupatia mwongozo wa jinsi gani ambavyo public participation ama ushirikishaji wa umma unakwenda kufanyika. Mheshimiwa Spika, hapo juzi na jana Mheshimiwa Spika, tumeona kwamba kumekuwa na ushirikishaji wa umma wenye ambao haueleweki, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na saizi huu mswada kama utapita uweze kutupatia huo mwongozo, itakuwa imefungua masuala ya kueleweka ndani ya taifa letu la Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, umuhimu wa ushirikishaji wa umma ni kwamba tunapatia wananchi nafasi ya kuweza kukubali ile miradi, ya kuweza kukubali zile hoja zenye ambazo ziko hapa bungeni na hali kadhalika. So sisi tunapatia hawa wananchi hiyo nafasi, tunapatia hawa wananchi hiyo nguvu, ndipo pale ambapo hawa wananchi watakubali na wataweza kuelewa umuhimu wa hili jambo. Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, sheria zenye ambazo zinapitisha kwa kupitia ushirikishaji wa umma ni vitu vyenye ambavyo vinaeleweka na hazitaweza kuleta sintofahamu kwa wananchi. Saizi masi mengine ukienda ukifanya mradi ama ukifanya kitu wewe kama kiongozi, kunakuwa na vile vidole vya walawama kwa sababu watu hawajaelewa umuhimu wa ushirikishaji wa umma katika kufanya masuala kama haya. Mheshimiwa Spika, na kama vile wenzangu walivyosema, hii mswada tunapoupitisha, jambo la kwanza, hii kutakuwa kuna uwazi, hakutakuwa tena na ile sintofahamu ya kwamba jambo hili limefanyika ama halijafanyika. Kama kuna any public participation ama ushirikishaji wa umma, wacha iwe ni kitu ambacho kiko wazi, wacha hiyo ripoti iwe iko wazi, iwe ni ripoti yenye ambayo inaweza kufikiwa na kusomwa na kila Mkenya. Ndipo pale ambapo hawa wananchi, Mheshimiwa Spika, watakubali miradi, watakubali miswada kama hii ili Kenya yetu, Mheshimiwa Spika, iweze kusonga mbele. Mheshimiwa Spika, nafikiri hata hili jambo la kwamba yule ambaye atabeba lile jukumu ya ile public participation inapofanyika ni muhimu sana liweze kuwekwa wazi na liweze kueleweka. Hapo juzi na jana tumeona huu ushirikishaji haujakuwa wa kueleweka vizuri, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na saizi wale watu ambao wanakwenda kufanya hii activity ya public participation, wao wanajua kwamba wako na lile jukumu ya kwamba hili jambo tunapokwenda kulifanya, wako na jukumu ambalo wamelibeba, na iwapo mtu atakwenda kuweka vitu vyenye ambavyo havieleweki na havikuzungumzwa kule chini mashinani na wananchi waweze kujua ya kwamba saizi pia kuna sheria zenye ambazo zitaweza kufuatiliziwa na hawa watu waweze kujipata pabaya. Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, wacha niweke kilio changu leo kwa wananchi wa Kenya. Nafikiria kuna mbunge mmoja hapa ambao ameweza kueleza masuala ya public participation na kushirikisha umma ni masuala mazuri sana, Mheshimiwa Spika. Lakini rai yangu, Mheshimiwa Spika, leo hii mimi pia inaenda kwa wananchi wetu. Lazima jambo hili lieleweke wazi, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kama wale wananchi wenye ambao watakuwa wanaitwa katika mikutano kama hii, kama watakuwa wanapatiwa kitu kidogo kama transport yao ya kuweza kurudi manyumbani, ama itakuwa iko vipi? Kwa sababu, Mheshimiwa Spika, tukisema masuala ya public participation, mfano mzuri kama kule kwangu Malindi, tukisema tunafanya public participation kama hivi juzi Mheshimiwa Spika, tumekuwa na kushirikishaji wa umma kwa masuala ya sheria za uvuvi. Na masuala ya sheria ya uvuvi tumeweza kuzunguka mahali kote kwenye ambapo panaathirika na masuala ya uvuvi, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na kule Kilifi County kwetu, Mheshimiwa Spika, tuliweza kufanya mkutano wetu pale Kilifi. Ina maana ya kwamba kuna watu ambao wanatoka Ganze, kuna watu ambao wanatoka Magarini, kuna watu ambao wanatoka Kilifi, kuna watu ambao wanatoka Malindi. So vitu kama hivyo, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni lazima viweze kueleweka na viweze kujadiliwa na mapema kabla hili jambo halijafika kule chini mashinani kwa wananchi, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na kitu ambacho tunataka tujadili pia ni kwamba wale wananchi wenye ambao wanaitwa, wanapofika kama pale, hawa ni watu wenye ambao wamekatiza shughuli zao za siku nzima, wamekuja kwa kuweza kusaidia kujenga taifa letu la Kenya. Lakini ukumbuke, mtu kama mvuvi ni mtu mwenye ambaye anaishi kwa kuvua na kwa kula kwa hiyo siku. Ina maana mtu kama huyo kwa siku anafanya kama shilingi 300, shilingi 400, shilingi 500. Mheshimiwa Spika, kutoka Malindi mpaka Kilifi, tikiti peke yake umeshamaliza shilingi 500. Ndio nataka iwe kwa wazi katika komiti yenye ambao wameweza kuleta huu mswada, masuala ya wale wananchi ambao wanakuja katika public participation, katika ushirikishaji wa umma, wale wanakuja kutupatia mapendekezo yao, wale wanakuja kutupatia maoni yao. Je, wale watu pia wako entitled ama wako na fursa ya kuweza kupatiwa kitu kidogo ili waweze kufanya transport ya kuja na kurudi katika mikutano au la? Mheshimiwa Spika, hilo ni jambo ambalo ni lazima liweze kuwekwa wazi. Jambo la pili ni muda. Mheshimiwa Spika, hatuwezi kuwa na ushirikishaji wa umma. Lazima kila mswada ambao unakwenda kwa umma kwa kujadiliwa, lazima pia nao iwe kuna muda wenye ambao ni mwafaka ya kuweza kupatia watu, jambo la kwanza, nafasi ya kusoma, jambo la pili, nafasi ya kuitana, na nafasi ya kujipanga kuja katika hii mikutano. Na iwapo huu mkutano utakapokumalizika, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni muda gani wenye ambao tangu mkutano umemalizika mpaka hiyo sheria ama jambo lolote ambalo limekwenda kuzungumzwa liweze kupitishwa, Mheshimiwa Spika. So hilo ni jambo lingine lenye ambalo pia ni lazima liwe wazi. Kitu cha mwisho, Mheshimiwa Spika, nafikiri ni hiyo pia masuala ya funds, masuala ya pesa. Kuna wale watu wenye ambao ni wananchi wanakwenda kutoa sauti zao, na kuna wale ambao ni wa maofisini wanakwenda kuzungumza na wale wananchi kule chini. Mheshimiwa Spika, hawa pia nao lazima waweze kujipanga. Ni vibaya sana ni watu wanapotoka nyumbani asubuhi, Mheshimiwa Spika, kuelekea katika mkutano, na kuna mikutano mingine, Mheshimiwa Spika, mtu anashinda kuanzia asubuhi mpaka jioni, hakuna maji, hakuna soda, hakuna riziki yoyote yenye ambao amepata. So wale watu ambao wanakwenda kufanya activities kama hizi, Mheshimiwa Spika, ningeomba ya kwamba waweze kujipanga na wajue ya kwamba wanakwenda kuzungumza na wananchi, wanakwenda kuzungumza na binadamu wenye ambao wako na mahitaji, na waangalie kama kuna vitu vidogo vidogo, ni maji, ni soda, ni nini, wanaweza kupatia wale wananchi, ili wale wananchi ambao wameweza kufika katika ule mkutano pale wasiweze kuathirika, Mheshimiwa Spika. Sina lingine la kuongezea zaidi ya hapo isipokuwa ya kusema ya kwamba naunga mkono huu mswada. Asanteni.
The Honorable Member for Jomvu. Honorable Badi.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kuweza kunipatia nafasi hii pia na mimi kuchangia mswada huu. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nataka kuunga mkono mswada huu ambao umeletwa na Mheshimiwa Chepkonga na vile vile Mheshimiwa Otiende Amolo ambaye mimi humuita future Chief Justice. Kwa hivyo leo hii mimi nataka kusema kuwa mswada huu una mambo mengi sana mazuri, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Spika, tumeweza kuona katika mambo ya ushirikishwaji mara nyingi sana waweza kumuona mtu amekuja na makaratasi ya kusema ati kuna public participation ama ushirikishwaji umeweza kufanywa, kumbe ameweza kupiga picha zake za zamani akaziweka hapo na maoni yake na kila kitu. Lakini hivi sasa Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia kutakuwa na yule ambaye atabeba jukumu ya jambo kama hili, na ni jambo zuri sana katika mswada huu. Mheshimiwa Spika, katika ibara ya 13(2) ambayo ya mswada huu unaulizia juu ya maneno ya lugha, tukiangalia hili ni jambo zuri sana na la maana kabisa, kwa sababu unaweza kwenda kumuona mtu amefika katika public participation haelewi Kiingereza, lakini yale yanayopitishwa pale amebakia yeye anatikisha kichwa hali ya kuwa hajui ni kitu gani ambacho kinaongelewa. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo kama hili katika mswada huu ni vizuri wale wanaotoa maoni sharti watoe maoni ambao wanafahamu kwa lugha ambayo wao wenyewe wanaweza kuona kwa wanaweza kuifahamu. Katika mswada huu Mheshimiwa Spika, katika kipengele cha 18 chaonesha kweli katika kuweka wazi kwa ikiwa seneti wameweza kufanya public participation katika jambo moja, na tukiona kulingana na sasa seneti wanaweza kufanya public participation ama ushirikishwaji wa jambo moja, alafu na sisi bunge tukaweza kufanya pia katika jambo hilo hilo. lakini hii inaweza kuonesha kuwa ikiwa maridhiano yameonyeshwa kuwa imefanywa kisawasawa, yatupunguzia muda kwa sisi mara moja, ndio tutaweza kuona kwa jambo kama hili haliwezi kurudiliwa tena. Mheshimiwa Spika, katika kipengele cha 20 ambacho ya mswada huu yasema kuhusu adhabu ama offense, na tukiangalia hili ni jambo ambalo la kweli, kwa sababu watu wengi ni warongo, Mheshimiwa Spika, katika kuweka maneno, wao wakiwa kwenye meza wanapeleka maneno ambao sio wananchi ambao wameweza kuyazungumza kutokamana na pale chini. Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kuunga mkono wenzangu, mfano kama Mheshimiwa Amina Mnyazi kwa yale aliyoweza kuyazungumza, kuwa ni muhimu katika mswada huu pia kuwekwe fedha ama public participation fund ambayo itaweza kusaidia wale ambao watakuwa wanatoka mbali kuja kutoa maoni yao, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Spika, ni kweli kuwa watu wanakuja kwenye mikutano. Wakifika kwenye mikutano, Mheshimiwa Spika, wanakaa hapo, hali ni ngumu, mtu hajakunywa chai, mtu hajafanya kazi, mtu hajaangalia familia yake, amekuja kuchangia katika yale ambayo ni ya kujenga taifa ama ni ya kutengeza maisha ya baadaye, na akiondoka pale anatembea kilomita ambazo ni nyingi bila kuona kuwa anaweza kupawa kitu chochote katika mambo yale. Kwa hivyo, Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kusema kuwa mswada huu ni mzuri sana, kwa sababu hata yale maneno ambayo tunayaona mara nyingi sana kwenye makoti yetu, ambapo yaambiwa jambo fulani limeweza kupitishwa, alafu wakati watu wanajipanga kupanga mipangilio ya maendeleo fulani, unasikia ruling ama hukumu ya koti imekuja kusema kuwa public participation haikuweza kufanywa kwa njia ambayo ni nzuri na kwa njia ambayo ni sawasawa. Kwa hivyo, Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kusema leo Mheshimiwa Otiende Amolo na Mheshimiwa Chepkonga wamelenga mbali kwa mambo kama haya ambayo yanatutokelea siku nenda siku rudi, yanatuwekea misingi ambayo siku zijazo viongozi wajao, wananchi wanaokuja watakuwa wana mipangilio mizuri ya kuona maendeleo yao yanaweza kupita na kufanyika bila kuregeshwa nyuma na mambo ya makoti ama kuja kuambiwa kwa jambo kama hili haliwezi kwa halifanyika kisawasawa. Kwa hiyo hayo ambayo nimeweza kueleza, Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kusema kuwa naunga mkono kikamilifu, lakini hayo ambayo pia nimeyapendekeza naomba yaweze kujumuishwa katika mswada huo. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
The Honorable Member for Gishugu. Honorable Gishugu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity also to contribute to this very, very, very important bill on public participation. Honorable Speaker, the Constitution, though provides an avenue for public participation on all